is there anything else you would like to say, Don?
Huh? What? Hey, did you check out my stream today, or did you just like, oh, whatever?
Dude, I said I was working, but hold on 1 second. I just want to say, what is going on to the chat? What is up next? Podcast is live. Guys, I am really excited for tonight's show. We had a couple people like either cooking dinner or waiting to surprise their better half and stuff like that. So I'm hoping most of the people are that are in the panel are actually at their hangout. But I'm going to try to wing it when it goes into the intros and all that good stuff. But for now, I got a job for the chat. And it's a little job, but it's a job that YouTube just does not like to do on its own. So if you can, that little thumbs up icon underneath the show, if you could just click that for us. And then share this out. Share the show out on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you go to talk games with the community. Let people know that we are live right now, another Saturday, and we got some awesome topics to talk about.
Man, that's guaranteed to give you a warm, fuzzy feeling if you do that, too. Warm, fuzzy.
I think somebody did it because I got the feeling. So I just
wait, don't do it too much around Bot.
But guys,
might have a crisis on his hands.
A new one, like Crisis 4?
Yes, kind of like that.
Yeah. But guys, like I said, we have awesome topics. I can't wait to get into tonight's show. But before we do that, we got to go into the intros. And I know I usually do it over the top, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. I want to get through the intros and start getting into the topics quicker. I know my brother Predator is happy about that. So speaking of the man, we have Predator here. Predator, what is up, brother?
Not much, man. Stuff in my face right now at the moment, but let's go.
All right, nice. Hopefully it's something good, man.
Dude, he had a mouthful of macaroni right now. I can tell. It's like
baked potato salad.
Ooh, that was my second guess.
So yeah, he's getting his starch in, and he's getting all of his greens. All right, good. Next on the list, he had an issue where he couldn't find where to shut off his camera before we went live, but he definitely fixed it. Guys, we know what he looks like. You don't. Crispy, what's up? Crispy, what's up, brother?
What is up? The salt level's high. The bread babies are real. Let's see what happens tonight, baby. Let's go.
The double B's all the way, man. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. Next on the list, your lights are flickering. You guys know what to do. I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat is standing up right now. My brother, the Don, is here. What is up, Don?
Not much. I was glad I was able to stop by, surprise Bot, all that good stuff, and be part of the next crew.
Yeah, as always, man, part of the family. I did let you know, man, you've been in for a few consecutive weeks here, so my birthday present is covered from you now, man. Yeah, you don't have to send me anything. We're good. Okay.
Oh man, maybe I should seal Christmas too. We don't know, so we'll see how that goes.
Brother, I don't do Christmas though.
Yeah, well, but it is the gift of giving, and what better gift than Dawn? So let's go.
All right, let's do this, man. And I don't know if my OKC brother is back in the hangout.
He's playing with his box. So
all right, I just want to let people know what he's doing right now is surprising Lady Mega with his own customized Switch, which is really a TV, and he just took the Joy-Cons and stuck them to the side of the TV, and he's gonna tell his lady that he bought her a Switch. So
it's amazing what you can do with Velcro, right?
Yeah. well, at least he's at least that's more usable than like gluing them on there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in rare form today. Let's go.
Well, guys, let's do this. Let's get into it. I'm gonna save the Death Stranding for when K Mega does come here, because there's some interesting things going on with Death Stranding. As a lot of people know, the review scores came out on some site, Meta something, I don't remember. But we're gonna wait for K Mega on that. I have a feeling he's gonna have a few things to say about that. But we can get into some things I am really excited about. It was just yesterday that BlizzCon is going on. For people who don't know, development team Blizzard, who is known for World of Warcraft, for a bunch of games that have a huge following, announced a couple games yesterday that at least one of them has me really excited. And I'm actually going to jump into that one first. Guys, we are getting a sequel to Overwatch. Overwatch 2 has been announced. And the cool thing about it is I feel like they're doing a couple things I've never seen before when doing a sequel. Hold on. Shout out to Sir X-Man hitting up that super chat. He said that he sent me PBA bowling game. Dude, you sent me a game? Thank you, brother. And again, Don, do you want to point out the fact that he paid to let me know that?
No. He's got his thing. I think he knows what he's doing at this point. So I mean, it's all good.
I hope the bowling game has Connect features in it, because I like the Connect Sports Rivals bowling.
So you want to capture your mill pattern baldness in your characters?
Oh yeah, definitely,
Okay.
man, definitely.
Right.
But yo,
Gotta
thank
get
you,
those plugs
brother.
in.
Dude, I will definitely play that. But the thing is, we got to play against each other. All right, you can't just get me a game and then not play the game with me, man. That's against the rules. So we got to go in and play together. Oh, I have the Drifter next to me. But yeah, Overwatch 2, and from what I'm seeing, this is a couple of things that they're adding here. They're adding story missions. So there is a campaign in the sequel to Overwatch. It has a story to it. There's story missions. Not only that, there is a PvE mode where you can go in with your friends and go up against the AI. Story involved in those missions as well. You can upgrade your characters. You can customize their special abilities. Now, I've played Overwatch. I've played it pretty extensively. I really do like the game. And those things right there, I feel, were definitely needed moving forward. The ability to customize your own specials and stuff like that, I think that's really awesome. But here are some of the things that I did not expect, okay? First thing, any of the new PvP maps that come out in Overwatch 2 will be there in the original Overwatch game as well. Not only that, I believe all the characters, regardless if they're new characters from Overwatch 2, all the characters will be available in both Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2. I've never heard anything like this before when it goes to a game having a sequel. So much content being intertwined between the original and the sequel. Don, I'm not sure. I don't think you're a big fan of Overwatch, are you?
I played it. I enjoyed it. It feels like a watered down first person shooter to me. Kind of just overly simplified. So I didn't really find a lot of enjoyment out of it, but I'd played it with my nephews and stuff like that. In regards to that, it has a super strong following. Obviously, the following has dropped off like any other game over time, but it stayed strong for quite a while. Didn't it win like Game of the Year, which I never really agreed with,
Yes.
but obviously people thought of it in that sort of framework. So I'm glad they're getting a more complete package. I think it's a great thing for sure. And I don't know if I'll pick it up or not, but it's at least it looks like it's better than the previous model, and that's always a good thing, right?
It definitely seems like it has more content than when the first game dropped. Because when the first game dropped, it was pretty bare bones in terms of how many maps, how many modes, stuff like that. I do gotta ask you, Don. Like I said, there was a couple things I never heard of in terms of sharing content between the original game and the sequel. You got the new maps from Overwatch 2 will be available in Overwatch 1. All the characters, regardless, if you're playing 1 or 2, you will have access to all the characters. Dude, what do you think about that? Because I know there's going to be some people out there like, well, why would I buy the sequel then? If they have all the characters, all the PvP maps are going to be available through both of these games. What do you think about their idea? They said they was to leave nobody behind. Give content to everybody.
Yeah, you don't want to split up the community because they're dependent on every player playing. Even if you're not donating dollars, right, to a product, they're totally dependent on you guys wanting to engage with the other set of gamers. So, like, I think that's a great way of going about it. I think it won't work for every game, but I think it works kind of like how Overwatch is laid out. And I actually kind of feel a little bit better about it because I never really felt the original game was really worth the $60, and that's when I bought it because I was wanting to play with my nephews. And so I can get more value out of it. I think that's a great thing. And then also, I think a lot of people have a lot invested, both time and money in the game, to get their unlocks and all the stuff that Overwatch offered over time.
Dude, yeah, that's another thing. Anything you have unlocked from the original Overwatch will be available to you as well in the sequel.
Yeah, it's almost like I knew that.
I know it's weird. Like you might have done some research into this topic. I don't know.
Not research. I just knew.
Of course.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's a good thing, right? And people are going to be look. There's even going to be naysayers like, how are they going to make their money? Not your problem. Like this is how
armchair investors are crazy right now. They're all over the place, man.
There aren't investors without any money. But that being said, like that, they looked at the business model, like these games, and this is games as a service, guys. Like, think about it, right? That you have to keep the community alive. I mean, I hate to bring up Destiny in front of bot because he just goes crazy, right? But I would imagine some of the same practices carrying over with Destiny in regards to that, because they want to keep the core gamers such as bot and the fraction that stayed behind to play the game after the initial release of the game and when they released 3, and they want to reward those players that kept the game alive, kept the game going, right? And it's the same thing with Overwatch. I think that's what they're trying to accomplish here. It's not like Overwatch is dead or anything like that, but it's not on its prime of popularity. And this kind of helps, give it a vitamin B shot to keep the sequel going, keep people excited, and reward those players that have put the time and the money into it. So I think it's a good thing.
Nice. And as we're talking about this, as you guys are hearing this, I will let you know I do have the official announcement trailer for Overwatch 2, the gameplay trailer for Overwatch 2, and the other game that they announced. And that's going to be running while we're talking about this. So take a look at that. Enjoy it.
When is Overwatch 2 coming out, though?
Huh?
They didn't have a date for it.
They don't have a date. They did say it's been made, for the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. I think Colin Moriarty came out and said like he would be stunned if this game came out before kind of like the launch of the new consoles. So he's saying that it'll be Xbox One, PS4, PC, but it'll also be Project Scarlet and PS5. But they're not going to announce that yet until, Sony and Microsoft officially announce their new systems as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if they release it sooner. Why not?
I kind of hope so. I'm hyped, man. I want to play Overwatch now, dude.
I mean, if the games are forwards and backwards compatible and all that sort of stuff, and then it gives it a second wind. Let's say you release the game right around E3 time, per se, right? Because you're not holding to E3 because you already did your announcement. And this is hypothetical. I don't really know the release dates. Mm-hmm. And you release around E3 time. People are like, well, I'm going to play the Overwatch. I can play that right now. I have a PlayStation 4. I have a PC or an Xbox. And then next thing you know, the new hardware comes out and then release, hey, my license carries over, or my saves or my characters carry over, depending on how the two platform providers kind of handle between previous generation and next wave of hardware, I should call it. And then, I think there's a second incentive to release it way before all that and kind of hit a second wave for the people that want to see what you can do with the next hardware. So
nice, man. Like I said, some of like when they announced like the sharing content thing, I thought I just natural common sense. I was like, well, what are they using to bolster people to actually get Overwatch 2. And I think a lot of it has to do with the story campaigns. And it's funny, Don, that you talked about Destiny, because when I heard that co-op PvE content, the thing, because I've been playing Destiny like crazy, the first thing I thought of was strikes. It's like strikes in Destiny 2.
I thought more of Titanfall. Titanfall 1, actually.
Titanfall 1?
Titanfall 1 had a story mode, but you played on the multiplayer maps.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember that. Well, they said story missions and a PvE element.
Yeah, though it still would classify as that. So that's what I pictured. I don't know if that's what they're doing or not. I mean,
I
they didn't really
I think
clarify.
they're separating the two. Like, it's not all that put together. I think they were describing two modes, two new modes that are coming in. But,
two modes, but same maps. If that's the thing that came to my mind. It doesn't mean that's what's actually going on, but that's what I pictured when they said that.
Okay, all right, I got you. Pred, are you done eating yet?
I'm here.
All right, cool. Hopefully you heard what we've been talking about. We are talking Overwatch 2. I know it's not your kind of military shooter. What do you think about the information though? And especially with that kind of that shared content initiative that they're doing between Overwatch 1 and 2. Do you what do you think about that as well?
I like the fact that they're sharing the content from the previous game. I'm almost like with Don. I think maybe I could see them double dipping with the release. Doing it right now. I mean, during this generation, and then kind of coming out with something later, the second half. We're trying to boost it. Isn't this the studio that Mike Ibarra went to?
Yes, and we're actually going to get into that after we talk about kind of the two big games that they announced. I have a question to you guys when it comes to Blizzard as a whole. But yeah, he definitely went there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an Overwatch guy, but I know that when it came out 2016, I think. It had rave reviews. It's a fun game. I've played it. I played it with a bunch of people here in the community and stuff like that. It's fun. Just not something I would get. I don't like the whole. I've never been a fan of those. Every character has its own ability type games. Just give me everybody just the same shit and let's duke it out.
Dare I say uniform?
I guess if you want to put it that way, I mean, yeah, different weapons is one thing, but the ability thing, I've never been a fan of those type of games where this guy can fly, this guy's a tank, this guy's a healer. Just give us a gun, rifle, some cover, some concealment, and let's go at it. And let's make it as even as possible. But I mean, I like the game. I like what I played of it. It's just not something I would just jump into all the time. But this is one of those games that people are gonna play competitively. This is a game that Xbox wants, and this is why I think the Bleeding Edge game is going to be kind of compared to, just from what I've seen so far. Even though it's more of a mashup.
Wait, you're saying that style of game is popular and people like it?
Yeah, I mean, it was
okay.
keep in mind this game before PUBG I think came out was in the top most played game
yeah.
Yeah. It's a popular game. So I mean, just because I don't like it doesn't mean I can't respect it. It's a fun game to some people, and it carries weight.
It sounds like Pred's trying to have an adult conversation. I love it.
That's so weird. Welcome to the Common Sense Gaming Podcast, people. It's weird.
So people will jump in this game. They're gonna play it. I mean, it's one of those hopefully cross-play games that we can get on PlayStation 4, Xbox, PC. Play together, have fun.
Crossplay, dude. Yeah, I mean, why not? Right? They're sharing content between the original and the sequel. Why not tack on crossplay as well?
Yeah, and then the whole fact that Mike is over there, that's just another win-win for Microsoft. Just kind of not saying he's gonna I don't know how they left, how it went down, but that's just having someone inside is an inside man basically to kind of smooth over some things. This would be a great launch title if Microsoft get exclusive rights to it. If not, it's still a fun game, and I think it'll do pretty well.
Nice. Now, Predator, there is a question in the chat from Brian Wright, and I think it's a pretty cool question. I'm gonna bring it to you on this one. He goes, "Why don't they just update the first one to have the content from the second and not make the sequel if the sequel is going to be the same with more modes? Like, and I see the
It's a little different because they have a story mode in this,
Yeah.
and they probably up-res some stuff too. Like, we can say the same thing for like Madden, NBA Live, like just but I'm pretty sure they did some other changes within the engine that that maybe.
Did you see the demonstration where they showed the same character from the previous one from the next one?
Yeah, they upgraded the characters too.
Yeah, it's a little bit swapped. So I have a feeling like when you play, say, the older one, it's going to look like the older variant of those characters. They're not going to get the updated skin or anything like that. So there's a sentence.
It's a new, fresher coat of paint, and
exactly.
Who doesn't want new shinier shit?
New stickers and paint, right?
Yeah. Let me back up for a second. I don't remember paying for this game. I don't remember if it was free to play or I've played it, but it's not a game I would have paid for.
It's not free to play.
You had to pay for it.
Did you?
You bought it. Yeah, I hate to break it to you. You paid.
Somebody might have got it for you, maybe.
I don't think so. This Overwatch is not my type of game. I know damn well I wouldn't have spent money on it. But I know I've played it. Maybe somebody gifted it to me. I don't know.
Hashtag mooching at its finest.
Trust me, that rarely happens. But I know I've played it. I just don't remember paying for it.
Someone bought it.
So maybe it was like a free to play weekend or something like that. That's what it was.
Maybe they definitely did a lot of that with Overwatch over like the last 3 years. So, I do want to move on to Crispy though, because when it comes down to it, Crispy is the newest member of our family, newest member of our panel, and I don't know about his history with Overwatch. So, Crispy, have you ever played Overwatch before?
I played Overwatch once, not my thing. I will say this is kind of funny that we're talking about a multiplayer only hero-based shooter like it's like godly, because guess what? It did really well for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
And this is where I go and say everybody, smacks Xbox for not doing, the single player thing, but these are the type of reasons. They were selling the game. It's not free to play.
Dude, the Overwatch competitive league is like absolutely huge, man.
And you know what's great is that why can't other gaming platforms / developers do what they want to do and let me have my characters that I had in the previous game. I think that's an awesome thing. I think that is way overlooked right now because like it gives you incentive not to buy their stuff, and that's kind of crazy that they would do that. You know what I mean? So you're happy with the character you had before. Like, yeah, you might have like some new move or something else, but you still have that skin you love, and you could just go and take it to that other one and not like worry about buying anything. Like, that's kind of like, hitting themselves right in the back real quick. Like, oh, we're going to let you do this and you might not buy another character, but we don't care. So that's how big this game is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Blizzard is more known for like PC based games until, Overwatch for the most part. I mean, obviously people enjoy Diablo and all that stuff, but it's Overwatch kind of put them like in the console market a little better. And it's kind of crazy that they're doing that. I mean, we all say revenue, but that's kind of like taking a little revenue away from you. So that's pro consumer. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah, and trust me. For people who don't know, Overwatch does have loot boxes, and it's the type of loot box system where you can get duplicates and stuff like that. It was one of the few things like I didn't like. I kind of criticized about the game when it comes down to it. But Crispy, I like where you're going with this. But you know for damn sure that they have a bunch of brand new skins, brand new sprays, and stuff like that.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like you already know that they're already developing these things if they're willing to do that. And that's just awesome. That says, hey, they're putting work into this game. They're giving you some single player aspects, which you didn't have in the last one. I mean, it's just a very, very intriguing thought, and hopefully it launches like without a hitch. You know what I mean? Because I mean, especially like it's not my thing, but I mean, if you go in Xbox and you enjoy the hell out of it, I'm gonna be happy as shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, whenever it comes out, I will be streaming this. I am hyped to play Overwatch again. Yo, anybody out there in the chat, if you need people to play Overwatch on Xbox, man, my gamer tag is xbot448. I will gladly go in. I am a Zenyatta main. That's who I use. So I am a healer, and I also do damage as well. Just throwing it out there.
I want to bring up one more point. We
can I just
somebody
shout
brought
out?
up.
Can I shout out
go
Sir
ahead.
X-Man before you do that, just real quick? Sir X-Man hitting up that super chat one more time, yo. Brother, thank you for all the love and support. I truly do appreciate it. He said that they had a few free-to-play weekends on Xbox. And yeah, dude, I definitely remember that. I remember telling friends who didn't have the game, yo, you guys, you got to download it for the weekend. We can play, go in and have fun and stuff like that. And I actually had a few friends after the free play weekends decided that they were going to buy the game. So yeah, dude, definitely remember that. Thank you. Great point. But go ahead, Crispy.
And you just made me lose my train of thought.
Really?
Yeah, you did.
It's because my voice is so mature and intoxicating.
No, you saw his webcam again. Is what happened. He's like, "Oh man, about to punch it."
All right, I
What's
have
going on?
returned.
Oh, you can get
He
there you go,
is
perfect.
Back.
Yeah, that was a quick one.
Did you just get back, K Mega?
What you mean that was a quick one? Come on now.
He could go
you
much
take what
quicker.
you want out
he
of
could go
that.
much quicker. Okay.
Hey, you know what? I could, and the damage would be done. Trust me. So put that ass to bed.
Are you just getting back, K Mega?
Yes, I just
All right.
got back.
We just started touching on BlizzCon and a couple of the games that they announced at BlizzCon. I know one of them you should be really excited about, but we're not talking about that one yet. Right now, we're talking about Overwatch 2. Now, the interesting thing when they announced Overwatch 2, first off, Overwatch 2 will have a story in it. So there will be a story campaign in the game. There will be what they call PvE, story-based activities. So you can go in co-op with your friends and take out enemy AI and stuff like that. The real interesting part is all PvP maps, all the new maps that are in Overwatch 2 will be available in Overwatch 1. All the characters, there's 31 characters in the original Overwatch. All the new characters will also be playable on both Overwatch 2 and Overwatch 1, which I have never heard that type of shared content between an original game and a sequel. I've never heard about this. Like, I've never heard anything like this before. So after hearing that, man, what do you think about what Blizzard is doing here with the sequel? Do you like that whole kind of like shared content concept? Or do you think it might get people to be like, hey, I'm just going to sit back and stay with my, Overwatch, just part 1 and that's it?
Oh man, no, I think if people that were a fan of the first Overwatch after so long, and it's been what, about 3.5 years now that the Overwatch has been, it has been kind of like this phenomenon, and now it's kind of fading away a little bit because of the PvP situation going on. So I think that I think it's fresh. It's just that's the same kind of thought process of like if you would think of Halo or Uncharted, something like that. Like even if even if people enjoyed the multiplayer on Uncharted, not trying to take knocks, I'm just saying. But if people,
you had to put that disclaimer.
put a disclaimer. So I'm just saying for the multiplayer purposes, like there'll be people that will go and play the original Bungie Halos forever, and then there's other people that will always play the newer versions of those games, but regardless, everybody wants a fresh experience one way or the other. So no, I think the people that are the fans of the first one will gravitate to that. It seems a lot more robust. It has a lot more options for you. So I mean, why would anybody be wanting to just stay on the original when you can actually have the best of both worlds and play both?
Nice. Now I got to ask you, did you ever get into Overwatch?
Yeah, I did.
Did you like the game?
Yeah, I did like the game. My big body girl, the Russian girl, that's my one right there.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
She's actually pretty hard to use too. Like,
Oh man, when I was really going hardcore, because I have a friend that he still plays Overwatch. Like, he's crazy. His rank is ridiculous. But man, when we were going hard at it, man, I got pretty good at it. Where I was going against some people and competing, the big ranked guys and ladies, and was competing pretty good. So it's just what I always do. I'll play something for a long period of time, and then something else gets my interest, and then I'm on to the next one. But I definitely enjoyed it. It wasn't a game that I wasn't not fond of. Like, for instance, like, I don't have a problem with PUBG, but it's not something that I'll go back to and just play unless we're just having a game night and people just want to play PUBG.
Yeah, Snaps was hooked on that game for how long? Yo, PUBG?
Yeah, no, Lemon and 100, they'll go and play it every once in a while. But I mean, it was just something like for me just to pick up and play like I would with Battlefield or Mortal Kombat, something like that. No, it just wasn't my jam. I'm not the biggest fan of that new shooter genre. It's just not my thing. So it's but Overwatch still has that old school feel. And with all these options that they have within the game, man, no, I look forward to giving it another shot, man. And if you want to, sometime if you want to play the old one, I got it. So we can jump in sometime.
Oh, nice, brother.
Yeah.
I will heal you like no other with my main. Okay.
I will let them loose with Big Bertha. Let's go.
Big Bertha, let's go.
Or I should say Big Gretchen, because she's Gretchen. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, since we got through that, I'm gonna start with you on the second game, Mega, and I think you're gonna like this. I don't know if you looked in on BlizzCon or any of the information, but brother, and we're seeing the trailer right now.
I saw the trailer today. I was like, this is dope. I seen both trailers back to back. Yeah, but of course, this Diablo trailer.
Diablo 4. Has been announced. All those Diablo people out there who have been waiting for this game, I think you guys are going to be incredibly happy. Now, some of the details when it comes to Diablo 4, they are going back to a darker Diablo, and they refer to Diablo 2 a lot in terms of kind of like the atmosphere, the aesthetics, and kind of like the darker kind of like atmosphere for the game. Not only that, Mega, you got to hear this. Not only that, but they're gonna be places within the game where you can end up going PvP with other people who are playing the game as well. Like you run into a another group of people or something like that, and it turns into a PvP type situation. Like as you're going through the game. So they have, they're kind of looking back at the legacy of the franchise, and they're going back to what they feel the gamer out there wants. And they want that darker kind of Diablo 2 type feel to it. But they're adding new features like, that those PvP areas where you can run into other people playing the game, and all of a sudden it's like it's going to be you or them type thing. So I know you're a Diablo fan, man. What do you think about this news, brother?
No, man, I'm excited. It's one of those things. Now, I'm kind of a late adopter of Diablo because once it came to consoles, I was playing a lot of Diablo 3, and then I got the Necromancer DLC. Loved that. Like I dug it. Like so. But when it came to Diablo 2 and the ones that were in Diablo 1, never played them. Never gave them a chance, but I had friends that was playing them on their PC, but I wasn't there trying to touch any PC games except for Quake. That was it at the time. So, but no, I find this to be awesome. I'm definitely going to play it. I'll get it, no doubt about it. And I like the games that goes back to their roots and be what they are. I mean, I understand that they want it to be more commercialized by trying to make it less dark, I guess, with Diablo 3, I suppose. But but no, take it back to the roots. Bring it out. Let Demon Spawns. That trailer was absolutely fantastic.
That cape that she had, like that was
out of the blood. Yeah, that was out of the three, that was crazy.
Dude,
and then like it was really dope because dude was like, come here. Because he seen the dude was trying to protect him, trying to save him, and instead of just tearing his ass up, he was like, you said you wanted answers. I was like, this is hot. Like, yeah. So so I am excited for it. I need to go back and probably I have time to because I got some time off. So I'm gonna definitely check out the BlitzCon and see more in depth because I like I said, Diablo 4 will definitely be a day one buy for me. I'm excited for it.
All right. And for people who haven't caught up with it or haven't seen the trailer, that demon at the end with the red kind of like blood cape, her name is Lilith. She is the actual name of a demon from like kind of like the Christian side of religion and stuff like that. She was the first female demon. And so they're taking it like straight from what they call, demonology, the study of demons, stuff like that. So it's all kind of like, names and stuff that if you do get into researching all that, you'll find the names like in your research and stuff like that. So that's really cool as well. I don't know, Don, are you a Diablo fan, man?
No,
not at all.
No, I haven't ever gotten into any dungeon crawler.
Dude, I can't stand dungeon crawlers, man. I really can't.
Really?
And I cannot get into them. I will say that
you cannot appreciate games like Gauntlet.
No. The closest I get is like Power
I mean, I
Stone.
can enjoy Gauntlet. What the hell's wrong?
Gauntlet Dark Legacy is one of the best games I've ever
You guys don't judge
played.
me, all right? I have my own opinions.
Listen here, I've known you for years. I'm allowed to judge you now.
But dude, after seeing that trailer, I told O Snaps, like, if they had that trailer and the game was like right next to it, and I didn't know it was a dungeon crawler, as soon as that trailer was over, I would go over, pick the game up, and be like, this right here, I'll be buying this right now. The trailer was awesome. Well,
those trailers for those type of games like World of Warcraft,
they've always been top notch.
They're up there with
they killed it with that one though. Oh my goodness, man!
Like that, they are fantastic with those type of PC. If like that might be a topic one day, like who makes the best trailers, and I have to say PC probably knocks it out the park because their games don't never usually look like the trailer, but they go all out like Don say. They look fantastic. They get you just by looking at them.
I know exactly what you're saying with that. Like I remember even like growing up back in the day, a new PC game came out, and if you saw the trailer for it, you're like, oh my goodness. Yo, Lucifer, shout out to Lucifer for hitting up the super chat. Basically stating Lilith's history. Yeah, she was the first woman in the Bible before Eve, and what happened was, I'm going to try to say this nicely. She did not want to work with Adam at all, and she ended up taking off. And by her taking off, she kind of adopted that dark side mentality and basically was transformed into a demon. So yeah, I actually studied that stuff, so that's why I was like, oh crap, it's Lilith, yo. Like I was really excited about
it. Sounds like the least scariest name for a demon. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's the one thing about with those type of games, and I like that, even though like I'm a Christian, things like that, and I know that. Like if my mom or somebody would hear me talk about like a game like this, she'd scoff. I'm like, what are you? What you playing? Come on. But I like that. Like, go deep within that stuff because those type of things should never, taint your religious beliefs or anything like that. It's just great storytelling, and I like the fact that Diablo always tap into into the Bible and things like that, and then doing their own narratives. I think,
and let's be honest here, every religion has a different take on what actually happened. So let's embrace it and see what the one take is to another. Yeah, and you might disagree with it, but hey.
All I gotta say is that name sounds like she has a YouTube channel that's like ASMR or does those sounds or something. Like it does not sound like the threatening demon that she's supposed to be, but cool.
Well, I mean, does Lucifer sounds
Yeah, because we've associated that for so long.
Because you're associated. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I mean, just
Xbox Live.
Hi, I'm Lilith. I'm a demon. Hello.
An Xbox Live party is not complete without Lucifer.
I'm just gonna say, like, I mean, if someone was named Margaret, you'd be like, oh, okay, you're not very threatening.
Right, and then she fucks you
I'm
up.
a motherfucker.
Bringing the Exorcist in here? Like, what the
Little
hell?
is known that's actually Pred's asshole.
I'm Lilith. Hello, I'm a demon.
Yo,
That's more like his asshole right there.
well,
Anyway, let's
Pred,
go.
yo, Pred, what do you think about this announcement, man? I know you are into your military shooters or any and you know those types of games, but do you get into the dungeon crawler like Diablo or?
So, like, no.
Like, nah.
Like, I've never tried them before, but, like, you know, I'm open.
Clench them cheeks, bro. What are you doing?
Well, grab
No,
them.
I've never really been into those games, and honestly, like when I look at games like that, like my brain just goes straight to it's a PC game, you know. So like, and I've never, I mean, let's be real, like I've never played a game like that on Xbox, even though I know there's some out there like that. But like before I got a PC, when I saw games like that PC game, move on. You know, I just never thought that I'd be interested in. Like I think GKB plays Diablo like religiously, and I've watched him play, and like they're interesting games.
There is
like,
a hardcore fan base for Diablo, man.
But a game like that, like I would have to go in with someone who knows what they're doing that can teach me how to play the game. I'm not opposed to trying it out. I just
It's
don't
not
know.
very.
I would
It's not very hard. Like I mean, it's
hit
very,
a button, kill things. That's all. I need to know.
Here's what I'll tell you, Pred. I'm naturally good at every game, so I'll help you out if you need to.
I've seen your Ghost Recon skills.
Hey, listen here.
Ooh.
I played games with you before, Don. We're like, hey, go to objective A, and you're over here fishing.
Yeah, I'm getting stuff done because I'm naturally good at things.
Dude,
I'll get to that.
He used to try to run me over in PUBG, like when we played together.
I think I accomplished that.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, Don, where are you? Where are you? Like, he's halfway across the fucking map, like just
Listen here.
doing weird shit.
I am the most entertaining gamer to watch. I'll say that.
Yo, Mega, do you see what Lucifer put in the super chat?
did.
Can you read
He's
that for
right.
me, brother?
Lou said she liked Xbox gameplay video over K Mega's, and God kicked her out of heaven, which is truth. I mean, my gameplay is heavily divine.
Wow.
It's the greatest. Thank you, Lou.
Lucifer,
You're absolutely
I
right.
swear your main goal in life is to make K Mega's head so big that you can see it from your home, and that's what I think it is. Yeah.
Dude, I can be picked up on most radars. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
We all know I have the better gameplay. It's all good, man. But with that being said, again, our newest member, we're gonna go to Crispy on this. Crispy, Diablo. What do you think about Diablo 4 announcement, man? Are you down? Are you gonna be getting into the dungeon crawler scene?
I used to be in the dungeon crawler scene. The thing is that like the last Diablo I played was Diablo 2, and I didn't enjoy it that much.
Oh, and they keep referring back to Diablo 2.
The only thing that I kind of like grabbed onto when you were speaking was that they're going to have like multiplayer aspects in there. And that's a little interesting for me, because I've always been like, when I've done like those type of games, like especially like the Gauntlets or the Hunter or any of those games, it's more of, we sit down and you have 4 people or 3 people, whatever they'll allow you to, and you play the game. And, you've never, that's kind of like innovative. Like you've never had this aspect before. I don't know how well it's going to work. That's the thing.
That is
it's like, how you're just going to walk in and all of a sudden there's going to be, another group of people and you're going to be like, yeah, this is happening.
So,
and that's
hey guys.
that's something that like could be intriguing though. You know what I mean? Like that's something more innovative, I think, than like some of these games that people call innovative that have come out. I think I know where you're taking. Yeah. I take a couple shots here and there. You know what I mean? Because that's the way it is. Like that's something that's not going to take away from the aesthetic of the game. but also is it going to work correctly when you get involved in it? And I think that's where we have to question, because we've had so many broken games come out. You know, it's almost like the DZ, you know, the Dark Zone in Division. You know, I mean, the Division is basically a PvE multiplayer game up until you go into the Dark Zone. So there's been always complaints about that. Is that something that we're going to see in this game? And that's the only thing that I question.
I will say when it comes down to it with Blizzard, if I'm correct on their track record, their games might lack content when they first come out, but in terms of like what they're doing with their features and how the game runs, I think they do a really good job of putting out a quote unquote unbroken game. You know what I'm saying? I think they really put their time in. They really, you know, flush out the game before it releases, to the point where I haven't seen them, at least in recent history, drop games out that were broken.
They're the best at games as a service. If you look at
true.
any publisher out there, like you just look around, I don't want to say they invented the business model because they didn't get in arguments there, but they.
Would you say it's like a wow moment?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why they signed on Bungie, like back in the day with Activision and that all that tie. And the reason why Bungie signed up with them, because they understood the games as a service type thing. It's more of this side of the company where, you know, the Overwatch, the Diablo, that side of what is it? What's the other one? It's real popular. WoW. All those business models. Yeah, that's originally what Destiny was trying to take after when they first created. So that's the reason why they sign off. And now, obviously, that business model is evolving. You're seeing this what happened with Diablo. You're seeing it happen with Overwatch. Like they're reevaluating how you add that value and how people perceive that as a product gets older. So I think that honestly are at the best at that. I mean, they'll make some mistakes along the way, but you know, now it's like a cell phone game because they don't have anything else to announce, and then everyone gets mad. But then, you know, if you stick with them and you ride the wave, you know, they're eventually going to make games for their other core audience, you know. And I think this BlizzCon is pretty much as obvious as it possibly can be. It's not like they came out with these things like yesterday. These things have been in the works for a long time, and this is the BlizzCon I think everyone that loves Blizzard's games has been waiting for. You know what I mean?
Dude, definitely. If you see the reaction and how pumped like gamers are, first, you know, the gamers that are at BlizzCon, but then the people who are checking out the information as it drops on the internet, sharing it out on Twitter and stuff like that. There are a bunch of Blizzard fans like right now saying, "Yo, this is the BlizzCon that we have wanted for at least 2 years." Like,
and what's funny is that we don't give these guys credit, because I think you're right, Don. Like, I don't remember a Blizzard game releasing broken or, you know, just
they've had their fair issues, but people give them a pass. That's the thing. It's one of the things, like certain companies we hold to different standards than other companies, and it just happens within games. And you know, but you know, they try their best just like anybody else, and it'll have its set of issues. Don't get me wrong, but they'll try their best to make their stuff good and playable. And I think their audience will give them a pass if it's a little bit rough at launch.
Yeah, and I gotta say I'm excited, and to see this BlizzCon, and you know, this is the studio that Mikey Barra is going to, which, you know, I believe K Mega said earlier. I think it was Mega, or no, it was Pred, right?
I think you both mentioned it.
I want to give props.
But Pred mentioned it first.
Sure. I was like, hold on, that's not Mega. Mega was too busy gluing Joy-Cons onto a TV. But he caught that. But you know, they hire Mikey Barra. They come out with and announce the games that the gamers want from that company or whatnot. We all know they have had a rough history when it came to, like, you know, announcing Diablo, and they didn't do that. They announced something else. You saw what happened with Hearthstone as well, and the streamer there, and all kind of like the negative wave that you know Blizzard had been getting recently. I'm gonna go to Crispy on this one. Crispy, all the negative wave that Blizzard had gotten, it seems like they're over that hump now, and they are making the right decisions. I gotta ask you what you think about this. Do you think that with them announcing the games that the gamers want, bringing in somebody that is known for like communicating with gamers in the community on social media and stuff like that, do you think like that Blizzard has kind of rode through that negative wave of interaction with the gamers that they had been going through within kind of like recent history?
Well, let's be honest. Blizzard's, negative wave is like, critiques and stuff. Like, there's not a lot
that
of like
streamer situation was pretty big though, man. Like,
well, and I understand that, and the beauty of having Mike there is like, hey, you are into PC games anyway. You have been streaming them for God knows how long, and you know what? I know that he has played all of these games. This is why he went there, in my opinion, because he loves like Blizzard's like atmosphere, the games they do, everything else. So why not join something that you truly love? Like
you guys don't realize he's WoW famous. Like Mikey, like apparently there was some sort of raid, like some huge raid. I can't remember if it was Diablo or WoW. I'll get the facts a little bit off. And this is like maybe early days at Microsoft, or even before he worked at Microsoft. He was part of some famous thing that was like on some forum on the game. Like he's been involved with Blizzard for a really, really long time.
Like you have to understand, like if somebody, like let's say somebody loves like shooters with a high multiplayer aspect, like they just love them. Like we see all these PlayStation people coming from PlayStation to Xbox and vice versa. Like if you want the single player, you go to PlayStation. You want the multiplayer, you go to Xbox. And we see it all the time. Like we always analyze every person that's leaving here and there, but we don't know their actual like deep down feelings, like how they feel. You know what I mean? Like does that person at PlayStation say, "Oh, single player, I'm not really a fan of. I'm going to work on it because I get paid for it." And then the same goes for Xbox. Oh, you know what? This multiplayer stuff is getting old. I want to do some single player. I want to, really go in depth in the story. So they go to PlayStation. And this is something that like everybody, goes, box this, box that. Well, guess what? We're all in the same boat. Like even these devs that are working on it feel the same way. Like if you enjoy a game, you enjoy a game. You don't. That's the way it goes.
I love when you get excited, brother. I definitely love it. I don't know. I'm gonna go to Pred real quick. Yo, Pred, and again, you are the business gamer. I know you get in, you play games and stuff like that, but you also track business and stuff. We know that Blizzard has definitely gone through some negative times lately when it comes to perception, with the gamers and stuff like that. So what do you think? At BlizzCon, they announced 2 games that we all know, big gaming communities have wanted them to announce for a while. You have Mikey Barra coming into the mix as well. He is definitely a personable figure. Somebody that, the gamers can reach out and talk to and stuff like that. Do you think the negative, kind of like that negative tide, do you think it's over with and Blizzard is going to start gaining that positivity again?
Not necessarily. Not, I mean, that'd be a negative Nancy or anything like that. But like, people are going to complain about something. Doesn't matter what it is or what company it is, or like we complain about EA. They can drop, and goes for any developer or publisher. They can drop, 5 great games and they do one bad thing and people are on their case. Like, we've said this before, PC gamers are fickle.
Well,
gamers
right now, Bethesda is really catching the hammer and kind of like rightfully so with their subscription to Fallout 76 that's coming through as well. So.
Yeah, and all it takes is something like that to turn the gamers off. And even though they could come out with another I won't say Skyrim, but like Elder Scrolls next year or a year after, they can announce it and everybody will love them again. But you do one bad thing and you turn people off. It's like Like I've never understood how like some gamers are like, oh well, I don't want to. I only deal with Steam. I don't want to go over to the store. But every other company is doing that now. Ubisoft has their launcher. EA has theirs. So like, why is it such a big deal for like simple stuff like that? Just
Like
turn people
you
off.
talking about open platforms,
Just yeah,
how there being an open platform, and then they complain about it,
yeah. Like
or
you
they
can still
used to
play the
brag
fucking
about it.
game.
Yeah, I
You can
got
still
you.
play the game. Like it doesn't change anything. You're just getting it from a different place. Like so, I don't understand why people get upset. But like gamers in general. I won't say here and categorize as one specific game, but we all do this, right? We see something negative about a company and we backlash about. Like perfect example, Call of Duty, right? I honestly forgot what the issue was with that map that the little map section they weren't gonna put on Xbox, right? We hooped and hollered about it. Oh my god, I want money back, and I think it outsold every other Call of Duty in the history of Call of
I
Duty.
think it made like $600 million, and yeah, shout out to the chat. Somebody was like, it sold 600 million in like so many days. It netted $600 million. So,
But
yeah,
it's still, I mean, like
it
that's not
definitely
bad.
sold.
Yeah, like so all the crying and complaining was for shit. Like, and the same people that are crying complaining about, you know, Activision or EA or Bethesda, all it takes is them to drop one game, and all will be forgotten. So
You know,
they'll complain now, and when the game comes out, they'll be happy. They'll shut the fuck up.
yeah, well, speaking of that, Lucifer hit up the super chat one more time. Thank you for the support, brother. And he said basically EA and Bethesda are keeping the heat off of Blizzard right now. In other words,
Yeah.
like EA and Bethesda are catching all the negative flack. But I have definitely seen like Blizzard fans not being happy with what they have been shown in kind of like recent history, whether it's the actions of the company or in terms of games coming out and stuff like that. So there has been within that community there has been kind of like a negative wave going on.
Yeah, that 1% that's complaining, whatever, they'll get over it.
Like as soon as they announce the games that the people want, they're back on top again.
Yeah.
All right, I got you, brother. Mega, what do you think, man? You heard, we heard about Hearthstone and the whole kind of like China thing with the streamer. That was kind of like the negativity that spilled out beyond Blizzard gamers. You know what I'm saying? But they have had other negativity within their community. So now with the games that they announced, Mikey Barr coming to the table, do you see this as the end of that wave and kind of like the start of that positivity wave going through?
I don't know, man. As long as Activision is involved, there's always going to be something that's going to be a negative driver. And the way that gamers are today, it just seems like there's always going to be somebody that's not happy about something. So, and then that person is going to make that gravitate to other gamers, and then there'll be just a reason to complain. And so, no, there will always be something that's not going to go the way of certain gamers, and it'll just fester into being whatever it is. But I think with Mike going there and then their direction of what's going on, I think that Blizzard is okay. There's, Activision is okay. I think now just looking at what you were just talking about with the success with COD, I didn't have no doubt about it. That's why when people were saying to me like, hey, look, I'm not getting COD, I'm not supporting it because of the whole exclusive deal, I'm like, man, I'm just going to go ahead and get this game. So when I see you out there later, I'm going to kill you.
Be like,
I'm
that was bullshit, by the way, what you said.
what you said? Yeah, I'm just saying. It's like, because you're going to get it eventually. They're still going to make the money off of you. And then and let's say that you do get the standard edition at $25 or $30 later on, 40, 25 to $40. You're still going to probably want to play with your friends, and then you're going to want to get different skin packs, and so they're still going to get that 60 out of you one way or another. So it's not it's they're still going to get their money. They're still going to recoup it, and if you get it 6 months from now, or if you get it a year from now, you're still giving Activision money. So the best
I'm
thing,
not.
well, I'm saying Well, that's the thing that I'm saying though. If you just don't do it, then that's a different story. But if you go out and you still purchase the game, then you just
Oh, Overwatch 2, I'll be giving Activision money, no doubt.
right. So that's what I'm saying. So Activision is going to get something out of whatever. But back to your point about Mikey Barra changing the whole outlook of Blizzard. I didn't think Blizzard was in a bad state until this whole China thing came into the forefront, and then it did look bad, look messy, and I did like the fact that they did come back and they said something, unlike what's going on with the NBA. But and we talked about that on GRG, which is a whole different issue. Like, I'm not so upset with LeBron. I just understand people want their money. And he just didn't say it the right way, or he should have just said it directly. Like, look, shit, they fucking with my money. You know what I'm saying? That dude shouldn't have opened his mouth. He should have known better, because everybody's eating good over here. You don't want our contract situations to look like the NFL, which I think that's the hardest sport, and all those players get railroaded. So again, it's like, just a different way of how they approach it. So maybe with the guy coming back and saying something about the guy that about how they mistreated these players or the streamers. Yeah.
The conference, right in the beginning, they addressed that situation and kind of apologized to the gamers and stuff like that. And
see, I didn't know that. I just know that I seen it in a tweet that people were saying that they apologized or whatever.
Yeah, right in the beginning of the show. I was watching,
so that's a good look.
Yeah, I was watching somebody's stream of it, after the fact that it was live, and he was even like, wow, they're approaching that subject like right off the bat, like at the beginning of this show, putting it out there, apologizing to the gamers out there, and promising that they will do better moving into the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no, that's a real positive thing in itself. So I think wherever Mikey Barr goes is going to be a good look, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't think Blizzard was in any jeopardy of anything. I don't think that Activision was any jeopardy of anything. They're going to be looked at as one of the most hated companies regardless. And really, coming into this, I know this has got nothing to do with either Activision or Blizzard, but I don't think once the Star Wars come out, and then when the next Battlefield comes out, and then the list of games that EA is going to be bringing, I think that all of that's going to pretty much go away as well. Except for the main reason that there's just going to be people that hate EA, and there's going to be people that hate Activision. Just buy what you want to buy. Forget all the rest of that bullshit.
All right, I got you, brother. I think it's interesting. I watched the full kind of presentation of BlizzCon. I watched what they were talking about. They did have announcements for World of Warcraft and stuff like that. I realize this community, there are people who like World of Warcraft, but within the community that we are a part of, if you want to look into that, there's plenty of places to go to look in and see exactly what they announced for WoW and games like Hearthstone and stuff like that. But right now we are going to move on, and we're going to move on to pretty much what seems to be the biggest topic this week. Maybe not on my table, because I don't let numbers dictate the game purchases or games that I buy, games that I play. But reviews for Death Stranding came out, and I gotta say, when it comes down to it, I look beyond the numbers, and there was some interesting things that were going on with these reviews, review scores, Metacritic score, and all that good stuff. There seems to be a mixed bag out there. But even within that mixed bag, there was a couple like 10 out of 10s in terms of review score. But within the review score for Death Stranding, and it getting a 10 out of 10, the reviewer did say that the game was boring, or that the game was sloggy, or that the animations were glitchy as hell, and basically the whole game is actually kind of like a FedEx simulator, where you're the whole meat, the whole core of this game is, getting an order for packages and then setting yourself up to walk through this barren landscape to deliver the packages. And people are going nuts on Twitter over these review scores. I don't know who on the panel wants to take this first. Anybody?
All I gotta say is the fact is when you are giving it such a good score and you say boring in that same, in the bit that you throw out there
How does
for the
that
score.
happen? I don't know.
Okay, this is what okay. I heard what 25 hours in, it's boring until the 25th hour or whatever. And these guys do games professionally, like you review them.
Well, define professional.
Okay, see, there you go.
I would challenge it. Not challenging you. I would challenge that. You know what I mean?
Well,
Okay, but
we can make this topic more kind of like an open floor. So as people are putting in their opinions, if there's anything anybody else on the panel does want to say, we can make this kind of like an active conversation type thing.
Well,
so.
my fact is that if a game on Xbox releases and you're 10 out of 10 or you're 95 says boring involved, people are going to call that out immediately. And that's just that is not what I've seen from what Xbox has released lately. It's more critiques. This is more like fanboyism. Okay, from what I've read, and especially in the higher, like not the lower ones, like I respect IGN for what they gave. Okay, I really do, because I feel like they actually looked at the game objectively, and I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm defending IGN.
I can't believe it either. I'm completely speechless right now.
68. They gave him a 68. Like that's something that I've never seen from IGN. Like I was expecting that for like any type of game. Like I don't even think they gave Days Gone a 68.
We see that all the time. The thing is that we're looking at the wrong thing with these sort of outlets. They're looking for what gets them attention, or what is what makes them stand out.
But when you just announce that you've you got 104 million consoles out there, whether it be in the back stock of GameStop or whatever, you have 104 million consoles. I mean, when you're reading stuff that says, okay, 10 out of 10, but it's boring, that to me says, I ain't buying a PS4 for that. I'm just saying, I'm not.
Well, I mean, let's just be fair. Most people that bought a PS4 had already kind of bought it.
Well,
what I mean?
No, and I understand that.
Well, they have a limited edition PS4 for Death Stranding as well, which I feel the aesthetics of the limited edition. I actually like the way it looks. It is what it is. The black hands that actually, if you look within the hands, it's the map of the world within the two hands or whatnot. I like the way that looks. But my whole thing, guys, here, we have had more than enough gameplay released of this game. All right, like I don't understand why people depend on a score, a number when it comes to this game. We have seen more than enough gameplay. We have seen exactly what this game is. I have no idea why people are shocked or surprised at like what's going on with this game. I said it last night on Crossfire. There's more than enough gameplay out there for you to check out. If you're checking out this gameplay and you're like, damn, man, I wish I had the controller in my hand. I wish I was controlling this character and having him go this way instead of that way and do that, then this game is for you. If you're like me and you're looking at this game where he's walking through this barren land, and yes, Christopher, I know you can set up tools and you can kind of like build things. I also heard that it was actually really tedious to do so as well. You can leave tools there, ladders and stuff like that.
You don't even have to say tedious. I think people can come to their own conclusions when you say that stuff. I mean, here's the thing. Like, obviously, I hope there's an audience, and I hope this game finds a success for the people that are going to enjoy it. The issue is really not the game, right? The issue is how media outlets present themselves, right? There's a contrast there when you're saying, hey, the game is boring, you can fill in the blank, you enter any game into that statement, right? but 10 out of 10.
All right, yo, just hang on that boring real quick because I got to shout out Sir X-Man and Lucifer. Sir X-Man hitting up the super chat said that guy who did that review for Metacritic should have his Metacritic card revoked. And
That's
Lucifer,
not how Metacritic works.
and Lucifer said if Microsoft made it without Kojima, score would be lower. I
have to agree with that.
But
I have to.
100%.
But that's the point everyone's trying to get
Chris,
at.
I didn't defend IGN at all. Just to let you know.
I did because I was
Oh my
surprised that they did that.
All right.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Don.
Go ahead, Don.
We can't have a conversation here. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is there's an inconsistency. You can fill in the game anywhere you want in that review. And if you give something a 10 out of 10, but you list a bunch of things that are negatives about that game, then that's not a very enjoyable experience, right? I mean, it's about having the fundamental basics. What is a valid opinion? What's the who, what, when, where, and why? Like, give me a proper review on something, and the reality is they're not giving proper reviews. They're not being fair to their customer base. And it doesn't really matter what the game is. I mean, I would say you can take the other PlayStation game, which I thought should have scored much higher, which was what was that one?
Days Gone?
Days Gone. You can take it that way. You can take Death Stranding maybe rated a little too high. You can take certain games being rated too low. The problem is there's inconsistencies. This is what we've been talking about the whole entire generation, and it's starting to kind of move back and forth, and because you're starting to see the real intent of these publishing outlets. The real intent of these publishing outlets is to stay relevant.
Mm-hmm. Well, Don, I'll let you know. I'll let you know within that. The review where he said it's boring. He said, the fun, or there also said the game's not fun, but it's important. And I will let you know. Shout out to Inside Gaming, because they gave a little more of a description. And basically, in this world, they have something that mirrors the internet, right? In this world. And their version of the internet, because so many people were going on and not communicating with each other, that they were kind of like losing their connection to life. They were losing their connection to humanity, which in turn created this event called Death Stranding, which was a damn near total kind of like apocalypse of people on the world. There's not a lot of people left and stuff like that.
I mean, I get the underlying message what they're trying to do, but then again, it's an art film turned into a video game. Like that's what it is. I mean, and that's not a knock on it. I mean, that's what they're trying to accomplish. Yeah, and then the thing is, if you go to an actual art gallery, as an average person, this is somebody that's gone to art school. You go there and you realize like some of these people are just not in touch with reality. Like that's just the harsh reality, and they're trying to force you to look at the world of their distorted perspective. And and that's how sometimes a lot of art is. Sometimes it resonates with people, sometimes it doesn't. But the thing is, I'm not really even hating on the game because I really have zero interest in the game, and as I said before, I hope people enjoy it.
You have a PS4, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you don't have an interest in this game to pick it up?
No, not at all.
All right.
Not. I mean, I completely forgot it was coming out. Like that's that. I'm serious. Like I didn't know it was coming out. So like, but it comes down to like it's the same conversation we've had for years. These media outlets are not consistent. The only thing that's been consistent that I've been able to piece together is they like to get outrage, because they know that gets some clicks, it gets some attention, right? And that attention drives traffic to their sites. That's why when you see like a game that's scored really well, you'll see a random one that's marked really low. Or sometimes where people are like, man, this game's not that great, but let's score it really, really high. And you'll see these weird contrasts in the reviews. And the reality is they're trying to keep their job. They're trying to eat. I get what they're trying to do. But they're not serving the end user, which is the customer.
Wait, are we talking about clickbait? I mean, we know a lot of people that do clickbait. I'm just saying.
It's not about calling out names or anything like that.
Stop talking about me, Crispy.
You do a lot of clickbait.
But I get where you're going with that, but I don't care about that. But I'm talking about media outlets. They're much bigger than like the individual YouTubers and stuff like that are out there. the harsh reality is that's what we're talking about. People are constantly doing that to stay relevant, and you can't just get an honest review out of these people. And honestly, the Metacritic score I think taints it, right? Because they know that if they do a certain number, they'll get attention, whatever that number is, one extreme or another.
Mhm.
And I just don't think we're getting a lot of honest opinions out there. I mean, you can have an honest opinion that's 6 and 7 and a 9 and a 10 about the same game.
But let us know why. Like,
Yeah, let's know why, but and don't give us a reason why and have those reasons why contradict your number that you gave it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
So don't list a bunch of negative things about a product and then give it a perfect score.
Perfect score.
or don't go raving about the product, how good it is for like, how many words are in an article, but let's say a 500-page article or 500-word article, right? And then you give it a 6. Like, don't do that stuff. Like, I mean, be consistent. And we're not seeing a lot of consistency. And I don't know. I find these reviews like literally they don't even have the eighth of a gaming experience as most people I know as gamers, and they're basically forming the opinion of everybody else what they regurgitate.
To
and
me,
what they
it's
repeat.
not too hard. As a gamer, once you get the game in your hands, it's not too hard to do a review and let people know why and actually like make sense when it comes to it. You know,
just
what I'm
having
saying?
let's having some sort of consistency in something like that. I mean, I think that's so important. And and this goes beyond Death Stranding. This goes beyond a platform like this. And maybe this comes from a place of like I used to love these outlets. When I was younger, right? Like I used to love getting my magazines, my what are the EGMs and the Nintendo Powers as a kid and stuff like that. Like I used to really enjoy seeing that sort of stuff. And I felt like it was a little bit more pure and they were back to the fundamentals, and we're just not getting that today just because of the business model and how they generate revenue. And I'm just being totally honest with it. I mean, I would say the same thing if any of those employees were here on this podcast. I would, and I would challenge them to, show us anything to the contrary, because I'm just not seeing it from them.
No doubt.
I want a picture, not a belly itcher, man. I mean, like, give it to me straight.
Yeah, definitely. Yo, shout out to Christopher Hart. Again, he said because the site with the low score wants attention. Now, Christopher Hart, where was that same energy when, like, Gears got a low score from somebody? Man, you can't do it on one side and not the other. If you notice, and low scores and really high scores with convoluted reviews and stuff like that. This is all, first off, this is all verifying everything I said about Metacritic to begin with. All right. But Chris, if you are going to hang your hat on Metacritic scores when it comes to other games that are on your preferred platform, then you also have to let your hat burn with Metacritic scores, when it comes down to it, man.
It comes back to the other fundamentals too. Like you said, as a gamer, like if this is something you're interested in and you want to try it, the review score shouldn't matter to you. You should get the controller in your hand and you should play the game.
And you have to be honest with yourself that the review score is there as a review score, but the comments after it is what I actually read. And the thing is like when somebody says a game is boring and they gave it a 50 or something, you know what I mean? Or a 60 or whatever. I'm going to be like, okay, maybe I should check myself before I wreck myself. You know what I mean?
Even the gamer review scores can be a little bit tainted. Like let's just be honest about it, because sometimes it becomes the in thing to hate something or like something. And so even then it's a little bit more difficult. I just feel like there's so many good avenues these days with way people stream games, way people play games. The fact that there's other ways to get games at a more affordable cost for gamers, like games prices drop quicker. You have services like Game Pass and stuff like that, and I'm sure you're going to see more of that through Sony in the future. I just think there's just so many better avenues that these outlets are they're just dying on the vine. They're just on the verge of going, and I just don't think they're going to be able to save themselves.
Guys, I just want to share this with you, and it's not really on topic to what Don was talking about, but again, shout out to Inside Gaming, because I watched their review of Death Stranding. there is a thing in Death Stranding. It is a piss grenade, a grenade that is filled with urine. All right, in the game.
Man, you better watch what water you're drinking if
Yeah,
that's the
for
case,
real.
man. That ain't right.
I'm
That
like,
ain't
What
right.
is that baby in? That's what I want to know.
The baby is in a capsule that is supposed to replicate
the liquid he's talking about.
Oh no! Well, it's supposed to replicate inside his mother. Now his mother,
Yeah, Bot's not getting it.
Yeah, he's not getting it. It's
no. Okay.
It's your.
Well,
I know you didn't try to dodge.
I'm trying to
it,
answer
not
the
getting it.
question.
I got a lot of
Yeah.
information. I got a lot of information on this that like I don't see a lot of people sharing out there. So there are details to the game that
Nobody cares.
Oh, well, fine then, man. I thought we were here to inform the community. Okay, that's what I thought we were here to do. My bad. All right. So well, let's go to the Predator then. You see everything going on social media. You see about the review scores. Again, I throw in my disclaimer. I don't care whether the Metacritic scores are great for a game that I love or whatever the situation is. I don't deal with Metacritic scores. Within pretty much this entire generation, and I didn't really care about them, before that. So, but with that being said, you see all kind of like you see the scores, 10 out of 10, but the game's not fun. 10 out of 10, but the game's boring, and stuff like that. What do you think about what's going on with the review scores for Death Stranding, Pred?
Listen here. Whose phone is that back there in the
mine.
background?
That's mine.
All right.
Yeah, freaking oh snaps. I don't know why. She knows I'm on the show right now, and she decides to like chain message me constantly. So
She's not expecting your phone volume to be on, probably.
No, she knows it's on.
So with Death Stranding, like the review scores, I think we talked about this last night on Crossfire. I think a lot of people's expectations were pretty high in this game. They were calling it Game of the Year before they hadn't even played it, and they still haven't played it. So like, I think when the scores came out and it was under what they were expecting, like that just caused the big rift that you see going on in the community right now. Like 84, 85, whatever it's sitting there right now. Mid-80s game isn't a bad game. And like you're saying, like we all saw this before. We've seen enough gameplay footage of it.
We know what the game is. Like,
yeah, and I think a lot of people were expecting something else. Like even though like they're expecting more combat, because they thought there was.
Kojima's known for doing a little bit of a swerve. I mean, let's give him credit on that. Like he'll present something and then there's some other element to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had that expectation, and again, we all haven't played it. The majority of us haven't, but we see the scores.
Let's give it up for Xbot and his Matthew McConaughey over here.
I know,
dude. I threw my phone too. I threw it to the other side of the room.
I know, but I think a lot of people had that expectation the game was going to be better than what we read in black and white, and I think some of those review scores are fucked up. Just for the simple fact, like you can't say the game is boring. The game is like wasting my life or whatever they were fucking saying. It read negatively. The review score should have affected it negatively too. It shouldn't be a fucking perfect 10. You're saying it's boring. That's just so stupid. Like we've seen this whole generation. Xbox games been marked down for having too much B button. Or for something not working at launch and like stuff like that. Like the pettiest shit they've been marked down for. But you're gonna give this game a perfect 10 after saying it's boring. Like that's the whole game. It's supposed to tell a story. Like that's what Kojima's known for, right? Like it's like, from my understanding, like a 2-hour cutscene at the end of the game.
Damn
like,
you, Don.
If it's boring, then why are you giving it a 10? Like that right there showing like the game wasn't exciting. That one negative review, I think he gave like a 35 or some shit like that, a 3.5. Like if you read that review, that read like a 3.5. Like he didn't say all the shit he said and gave it like a 9. And I think some of the other scores that were given out as 10s and stuff like that, the high 90s, like they all read the same way. Like it had a lot of negative tone to it, and they still gave it a high rating despite that. And I just don't understand it.
Yeah, dude. Like, high scores with it being not fun and boring. That was the most interesting thing to me, because throughout this entire generation, I know people have kind of, sowed their opinions to Metacritic scores or resolution or something like that. But when it comes down to the review itself, I have never in my life seen anybody describe a game with such negativity and then all of a sudden say, it's a perfect score. All right.
But I just want to chalk it up because we're getting old.
Well, another thing,
we're just telling people to get off our lawn. I mean, that's what it is at this point, right?
Well, speak for yourself, man. I'm not old, but
Oh, I thought you say you don't have a lawn. Okay, go ahead.
But another thing is, people defending the whole "it's not fun," but and they're like, well, games aren't meant to be fun, or some games, they take a serious tone. Well, just look at movies. All movies aren't comedies, and I'm like, and my whole thing to that is, nobody goes to say a horror movie or a scary movie if they aren't entertained, if they don't have fun being scared. You see what I'm saying? It still revolves around fun when you're consuming that type of entertainment, whether it's video game, whether it's movies. Movies, I don't think it's fun to watch, seriously romantic movies, but my wife does. She has a blast watching those things. She has a blast watching sad movies and stuff like that. She still has fun. So I don't understand how people can defend if somebody says the game's not fun, but still give it a good score. To me, that makes no sense at all. Especially, I don't know, especially in a form of entertainment where you're
that's the basic fundamental thing of any game, right? That's what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to entertain and have fun. So if as a game, if you fail at doing that, I mean, you can have the prettiest graphics, you can have the highest resolution textures and highest frame rate. It doesn't matter. If the game's not fun, then people don't play it and people don't enjoy it, and people are upset they spent their $60 on it. And I mean, just stuff is so simple, and it's less about Death Stranding. As I keep saying, I don't really think it has very little to do with Death Stranding. It has to do with how these places are basically presenting themselves, and I just don't think it's I don't think it's a good look for them. No. I guess is the best way to look at it. And I get really frustrated when because they share the same customer, right? Like my customer and a media outlet customer are the same people, right? And so when someone treats them like crap, I really have an issue with the end user. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those things where I feel like the media outlets are in it for themselves, and they're not really in it for their end users, and that's sad to me. And it didn't always used to be that way.
Yeah. Well, K-Mega, you have been quiet on this, and I'm surprised, man. I don't know if you were waiting for me to call on you.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to call on me, and Don better not open his fucking mouth when I'm talking.
Hey, listen here.
I'm just letting him know right now.
Don said he'll send you.
Don't worry. I'll just text message bot on the phone. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah. Show your disgust. Like Mega's fucking up. Anyway, no, whatever. Shut up. All right. So this is the thing right here. Listen, I agree with what everybody else on the panel has said, but you know me, and maybe that's why you came to me last, because I'm going to keep it 100%. For one, the reviewers that gave that game higher scores. And Bot, please answer your wife, because maybe she might be Don.
I'm guarantee you that is Don right now, because I already answered my wife.
Don
I told you I would message him on the phone.
Don is an asshole. Anyway, I love Don. He's a fool though. Yeah, anyway, so he comes on here trying to be all corporate, and he is the messiest of us all. Anyway,
yeah, for real. Just like his racing in Forza, by the way, just messy, man.
Man, I don't swap paint like you. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, here we go. Is this GRT or is this Nick?
Don't worry about it. Bob's just upset he's going to lose that NBA 2K at me.
I'm thinking about buying you that game just to play you, sir.
Oh, I can't wait on that white and white
In
crime.
that case, stop ducking me. Let's
Okay,
go.
so check.
You don't even have the game. What are you talking about,
I
man?
love it. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me get back focused, right? Okay, so this is my main thing, right? The reviewers that gave this game higher scores than what this game needed to be, to me, are cowards, because they went off of name recognition, even though they knew that game was absolutely not noteworthy of being at the higher tiers with the Gears 5s, with the Devil May Cry 5s, with the Resident Evils, with the Sekiro.
I was
with
gonna say you throw a PlayStation game in there just to make other people
no
happy though.
with the Luigi's, with the games with the Luigi's Mansion, with games that's I keep forgetting, Astral Chain or whatever. Those games look fire. Those games are fire. People love them. They show gameplay of them. All of that. The thing to me is that the difference is why I say that these reviewers were cowards is because, for one, if this was a Compulsion game, if this was a game made by Compulsion Studios, what do you think that the rating would have been?
Oh, dude, they would have hung that shit out to dry.
Yeah, damn straight they would have.
That's the reality of this. That's the problem overall, is that because of Kojima's name, and instead of, you know what, I said this on GRG last night.
But doesn't reputation have something to do with it, though?
Yeah, you know what? How I look at Kojima is kind of like how I look at Kanye West right now.
Oh,
this is good analogy.
I want to hear it, baby. Let's go.
I want to be real. Like, Kojima at his prime is one of the best developers of all time. Kanye West at one time was one of the best rappers of all time. You look at Kanye West now from what he was 10 years ago. You look at Kojima for what he was from when he did the Metal Gear Solid before he did it on the PlayStation 3. Fire. Or I should go back to Zone of the Enders. Fire. Great. And look, he's still very talented. He's great, but I think that his passion for making movies is overstepped the bounds of what he does with games. And I think, and I commend anybody that says, hey, look, what Kojima does with his innovation, it should be noted. It should be noted, and it should be in gaming. I think that whole Death Stranding thought process about what he's trying to give a message to, fine, I get it. But let's not mistake what that type of game would present to a casual audience, and that would be no bueno. Ain't nobody gonna buy that shit. That's the thing. But they want to sell it off of his name, and he's worked. He's did this, but now can we go back and we look and see actually if Konami wasn't actually, maybe they probably weren't right.
Hold on.
About getting rid of them.
Mega, exactly what I said last night on Crossfire. I was like, if all this stuff is true, because I haven't played the game, so I can't say definitively if it's true or not. But if all of this is true, I remember when Kojima left Konami and people were like, oh, thank God, now the shackles are off and he can do whatever he wants. Some creative people, sometimes they need to be reeled back in. You know what I'm saying? To put out.
That's why I say it is so much ironic, because Kanye just dropped his album out, right? And this game is dropping right now. And these, at the time, at the pinnacle of their best at making games, at making music, are shell of themselves. Not saying that Kojima don't know how to make a game, because he does, but Kojima has a different vision that gamers are just not adjusted to. Hell, gamers just now are starting to get into digital gaming. Gamers are just now starting to, well, now, other than PC gamers, but console gamers, they're just now getting into this whole new idea of gaming services and everything else. You see the divide we got in that. Nobody is not ready for piss grenades and babies in jars and trying to talk about how social media, when the company itself that with PlayStation needs those social media lights like my boy that's in here that's keep touting about PlayStation this, PlayStation's the greatest, PlayStation that, talking about social media when they are the main ones that's on social media
Brother,
talking
you are making Chris heated right now,
more
man.
about the damn game, more about what the Metacritic score is. It is about the gameplay. Why is it that we see within these groups of people talk about what scores are, what the sales are, instead of talking about what is actually in the gameplay? So how I look at this right now, to be totally honest with you, because you know I'm going to keep it real, I look at now PlayStation has their Crackdown 3 moment. We have waited just about as long as for Crackdown as we has for Death Stranding, and what have we got for it? This. And only reason why that shit is only at a higher score is because of the fact that it's Kojima's name. I promise you. And everybody that's listening to this show and will listen to it later will know if it's any other goddamn developer, they know that game would be a flop. Let's keep it real.
You can kind of say the same thing. I would say so
Come on
for
now.
like George Lucas. If you think about George Lucas, you look at the original Star Wars, right? And how he's a little bit more tethered, and you look at the prequels where he's a little less tethered. You know, not as well received. Like there's some brilliant people out there when they're creatives in regards to that, but they always need somebody to reel them in, right? Bring him to reality, bring him back to ground. And I've talked about this for a long time. Certain developers and certain studios are sometimes not good matches with certain publishers, and vice versa. And in regards to sometimes they're the secret sauce that makes it all come together, right? So, you know, it's just not a guarantee that certain publishers are going to work well with certain developers in regards to this. And I think Sony just gave them free reign, and
won't do that again.
Yeah, when we get free reign with well, if it sells well and it finds its audience, I'm sure they will.
Listen, that game will not find its audience like that. Like
I'm not taking that side. I'm just saying, like, if it does, though, they will continue to do it.
Then let me take that side. That game will not gravitate to the console, to the casual market. It just will not. What will happen is that this game is going to be bundled, and then it'll get enough. Because I said there's enough Kojima fans out there and people that are interested to try to see what this game is about to get it to that 2-3 million mark. And this is what the problem is with the PlayStation fan. I see these PlayStation fans in here just want to talk.
Well, I wouldn't say fans. I would say extremists, brother. Like they're
yeah, you're right. Not the PlayStation fan, the extremists. They'll get Crackdown 3 was trash. Okay, blah blah blah. You didn't play the game. Listen, you didn't play the game either. You're going off of reviews. Bloody got to play the game because he bought the collector's edition. And you know what Bloody did? He played the game, he streamed it, and he ain't been playing it since. Something's wrong. He bought the collector's edition. When you have, that's why I said that these people, these journalists that come out and they gave the game high ranking scores, and then they said that the game is boring. That's what do we play games for? We don't play games to be bored. We play games to be entertained. 2-hour endings, that could be cool if you have an experience that builds up to a 2-hour experience. I'm not going to knock that. Like, okay, it might be crazy, but when I play certain games and then I'm at my wit's end, like, okay, I'm ready for this. Like Borderlands 3, love the game. Think the game is fantastic, but the story kind of dragged. I'm like, oh my God, okay, come on. And especially, I'm like, I got like 13 side missions left. Game is huge, well worth the money. But I'm kind of like, okay, it's dragging. Let's get this over with. I kind of want to get it done. So if this game is dragging already before you can really get into the meat and bones of this game, and then you finally can get into it, and then you get this 2-hour ending, you're not going to feel satisfied. You're going to feel like you got screwed over. And I'm just being real. I'm not saying that the game, I said this on GRG last night, this game had the potential to be game of the year or be a flop. It's a tweener. It's anywhere in between from those two. And for what we're seeing, because that there is not people to be strong enough to resist what Kojima does because of the name, they are going to fraud the public and tell people that game is a perfect game when we know what his last entry was when they gave that a perfect score, and nobody talks about Metal Gear Solid 5.
See, you know what? You know what would be great? Kojima would be great as like an advisory, like contract position, right?
Mhm.
Like you create a game, you create a story, you have a good outline, and you say, okay, what would you do with this story, right? And it gives it that little bit. Who fell asleep?
I don't know. I hear it. Did Crispy go
I
to sleep?
I think Crispy fell asleep. We're playing.
No, I didn't.
Fred.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fred, yo, sleep apnea.
Shit. It's out.
Fred's out.
Fred is
It wasn't me. Wait, he's gonna call me out, Don. What, you just don't like me, huh?
Fred's
You're
tired,
just
man.
oh,
Fred's
he's
tired.
gonna fall
Fred's
asleep.
tired.
Fred, come back to us.
Fred, you fell asleep. We heard you
did.
snoring. Huh? Oh shit! Hey man, you had a long night?
I've been up since 3:00 this morning.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay,
that's how
cool.
interesting this topic is to Predator, by the way.
I get it.
You
But
got any more topics, or is this it? We're just
Oh no, we got I got Dx12 to talk about too, man.
Oh, let's move on, man.
Yeah, it's
no,
gonna put me to sleep.
I ain't done because I talked the least all show.
All right, well let Kim make it work it out. All right, go for it.
Work it out, Mega. Work it.
All I gotta say is that look, I've kept this energy and I will continue to keep this energy. For people who like the game, go buy it, go support it. I don't have no problem with anybody telling me that that's one of the best games that they played this generation. That's fine, because when I've said something about how fun Crackdown 3 is, or how fun Sea of Thieves, or State of Decay, or any of these other games that people might say, just doesn't win over their thought process of if a game is fun or this or whatever. I get that. That's fine. So you could tell me that Death Stranding is one of the best games that I've ever played, but for the overall looking at how people were trying to look at scores, and now that y'all trying to say, when y'all said, like Crispy said, Gears is a flop because of its score, and then it's the same damn score as Gears and Halo 5 and a couple other Xbox games. Now you're over here talking about, that's a good score. That's positive. You're a liar. You're a fraud. You fraud the public. You will not fraud me.
Well, they say the new IP thing. You know.
Yeah, no.
Well, guess what? Outer Worlds had a better score. Just saying.
Listen. Let's keep it 100, and I'll end it on this. Let's keep it 100 on here, right? No, you know why nobody don't talk about GT Sport? Because it came out with a higher score. It came out with a high score. It didn't touch Forza, but it came out with a pretty good score. But then when you look at the user score, it's a 71. That's why nobody talks about GT Sport. It's so ironic that when these so-called PlayStation real fans start talking about these games, if it ain't about sales, why is it that they don't talk about, like, look, I got to give it up to Otter, Doc Otter. He'll talk about those other games that's in PlayStation that nobody gives a damn about. He'll talk about those games like The Last Guardian and all those other games out there. Nobody talks about The Last Guardian. Nobody talks about all those games where the chicks is flying around and jumping into people and flying back, and they only sold like 300,000 copies. Nobody talks about those games. Those are the real gamers that you want to listen to that are PlayStation fans, not these so-called I know what PlayStation needs, what PlayStation does. I love the same template bullshitters. Get them out of here.
Yeah, well, let's get them out of here, because in all seriousness, let's be real for a second and say that people are talking about this game in high regard and they haven't played it. I'm not talking about it. I'm just saying that I've not looked at the Metacritic score, read all the reviews, and it paints a picture. Okay. And some have been lower and higher, but it's still the actual reading involved. I know it's hard to think about that the top and the bottom have the same gripes about them. Multiple of freaking sites and everything else are going to sit here and say, oh, it's boring. Oh, it's boring. Oh, it's boring. And I'm going up and down, up and down. You know what I mean? It's boring for the first part of the time. I mean, like I've always said, I'm a multiplayer gamer. Okay. But I didn't go into Gears 5 campaign saying, oh, this is boring. No, it wasn't boring. Actually, what got me off of the game especially in the campaign, was playing with other people and having problems with, getting any type of glitches involved. Like they were just constantly like little glitches that would just be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I think that's, and the problem is that most of these Metacritics do not involve those glitches. And a lot of people need to see that.
Yo, Crispy, here's the deal. And I love that something like this happened with a PlayStation game in terms of the scores and stuff like that. Because all like the arguing that's going back and forth on social media and stuff like it, we've seen it the reverse side. When it comes to Xbox games, and all this is doing is proving my point and proving my hashtag that pretty much Metacritic is absolutely irrelevant. And in this case, with Death Stranding, in this case, there is more than enough gameplay. I think somebody said if you search enough, there's over 3 hours of gameplay of this game out there for people to check out. And it's as simple as this. Let's bring it back to its simplest form as gamers. If you're checking out the gameplay and you feel like you wish you had that controller in your hand and you want control of that character and you want to be a part of the world, then guess what? The game's for you. Why is everything a comparison between platforms? It doesn't have to be.
And this is the thing right here. Hold on. This is the thing right here that trips me out overall, because I see one of the guys is like, why are you talking about this game when you haven't played it? You never heard me say that this game was trash or ass juice. You are garbage. You never heard me say it. You heard me say that this game will not attract the casuals. That is the truth. It's not it's too far out there. If Xbox made this game, I would have said the same thing. But the one difference between me being honest and you being being out there and just trying to cry because I've been real is that if this was an Xbox game, the first thing you would have said is just like what you guys say all the time, is that this game is dead on arrival. It ain't going to sell. It ain't going to do this. That's the difference. You never heard me one time say that this game is ass. It's just like what I've said about Persona. This game is a niche. It's going to be niche. There's enough Kojima fans to sell for it to sell, but it's not going to gravitate to the masses, because when the people see the commercials, they're going to go it and they're going to play it and they're going to see those beautiful visuals. But once they get out there and they ain't no true hack and slash, they ain't no true, there ain't nothing. You gotta have suitcases on your back and you got to control both controllers to make them walk right. And just to get to the next thing, the save menu, the fast travel is absolutely abysmal from what the people that played and reviewed the game has said. That's the reality. Come on, man. Let's not try.
Again, when it comes to the gameplay, we all knew what this game was. You don't come out with 3 hours of gameplay that show you going from one place to the other and basically going through and the whole game, the core mechanic of this game. When you look at the gameplay, it's getting your contract to bring packages to a certain area, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole core of the gameplay is setting up, your supplies and stuff to get there. And that's pretty much what it is. Every once in a while, you will run into a pack of people that they're not even trying to kill you. All they're trying to do is take your packages and they want to deliver them. They want to get the credit for it. They want to get the likes for it. That is the core of this game. So if that core element is something that you guys think you can get into, regardless if it's a PlayStation game, regardless if it's an Xbox game, PC game, or something like that, then the game's for you. If you're touting this game just because it's on your preferred platform, I think you have to go into the bathroom, look in your mirror, and try to do a little self-judgment on yourself. Exactly. Because that is not the right reason to be like, oh, this game is going to be fire. You like if it caters to you, then that's all well and good. You know what I'm saying? But please notice, and the reason why I bring up the reviews is, like I said, I have never seen this in the gaming industry where you can have reviewers call it sloggy, call it boring, say it's not fun in quotations and stuff like that, and still give it like a 10 out of 10. I have never seen that
That's
at all.
terrible. And I've always stated, I don't believe any game should have a perfect score because they're made by human beings and human beings are not perfect. So there's always going to be some element to a game that's not good. As much as I love and I tout The Witcher, that game had so many bugs and issues, and they iron them out and they change it and overhaul things. That game gets a 9.5 from me. That's the highest score that I'll give any game that I think that is the best of whatever generation. That's, you know what I'm saying, or, you know, whatever I feel that is the best game, because there are issues with every game out there, even God of War, whatever. The thing of it is that, look, this nitpicking thing is really crazy, because the thing of it is where I think where PlayStation fans need to reel it in, or I should say the fanboys need to reel it in and just accept, is that this game would benefit so much if this was if PlayStation Now was like Game Pass. This would be the perfect game for that, and for Kojima.
Somebody said that in the chat as well. It's
I didn't see that, but let Kojima have his complete vision brought up, and then it might have more people to jump on board. But you're asking people to pay $60+ for this game, and there's not going to be a lot of people that's going to go ahead. If you think this thing is going to sell like Spider-Man or like God of War or like The Last of Us, I think you have another thing coming. If that happens, I will definitely eat crow.
Anyway, why would anybody expect something like that?
Because they was expecting 90 Metacritic. They was expecting this to be the game of the year. Listen, not to break your heart, but this is the thing. Nintendo has had the best, has probably, when it's all said and done, this generation has probably had the best comeback, best generation than any of the top two. Let's just be honest here. They have been quiet. They've done this thing. PlayStation has had a bad year. Let's not sugarcoat it. You know, when they by the fanboy standard, not by what gamers think, because gamers can love Days Gone and Concrete Genie, but by the fanboy
Genie look hot, man.
It looks beautiful, looks fantastic. But how are you going to tout a game that looks like a cartoon when you over here talk bad about Sea of Thieves? I don't get that.
Well,
but regardless of that,
I can say it because I've been consistent all the way through, brother.
Of course, the game looks beautiful, and it just might not go to a core audience. But the thing of it is that, look, by the standard of the fanboys that's had the most vocal voice for the PlayStation community, it's been a bad year for Sony. That's all I'm saying. I'm done. Let's move on.
Let's move on, because it seems that our favorite API, and I know this is something that people love to hear, 2 little letters, 1 number, Dx12 has recently gotten an update. It's gotten an update to help optimize it for, and this is the cool thing, for PC and for Project Scarlet. Now,
that's not complete.
Oh, okay. Well,
Xbox One S and Xbox One S.
I think they were just. I think when it came down to it, they were just a little more surprised that the Project Scarlet name was just out there so quick.
Yeah, it's anything that's DX12 related got an update. I guess it's just clarify there.
Yeah. But it has to do with DXR, which is the ray tracing part of the API, which got an update. It went from DXR 1.0 to 1.1. A couple things in there. I believe the command buffer can now be spun up on the CPU side or the GPU side. They're using they put in the utility to use something called mesh shading, and I think Don might possibly be able to break that down a little bit more, but it's basically the detailed how detailed something is in terms of its texture and shading to the distance it is away from you. So the closer it is, the more detailed it is, and they actually incorporated the shading into that to automatically work or whatnot. But they're basically optimizing Dx12, for moving forward, and it's going to have significant benefits when it comes to the new hardware that's coming out next year as well. Now, I didn't necessarily want to jump into the details of exactly what they're doing with DX12, but with hearing what they're doing and how they clearly put Project Scarlet in there, we all know the beginning of this generation with the Xbox One, the tools, the dev kits, the API, it wasn't up to par. With the games coming out beginning of this generation, the developers' tools just weren't where they should be. Where on Sony's side, their development kits and stuff like that were a lot more mature. This time around, I feel like Xbox has learned from their mistakes, and they are more than ready for when their new hardware comes out. And I'm gonna go to you, Don, first, because you have a little more kind of you have more knowledge when it comes to the API and kind of like the benefits of certain things. So if there's anything you want to pull out of this update to share, with the people who are watching right now, definitely do that. But I also want to hear what you think about my thinking here, because I know you were on that side as well, where the tools just weren't there when the Xbox One launched. And I feel like Xbox looked back at that and was like, man, that was a major issue. And I feel like they are more than ready now. They have everything kind of up to par, everything up to snuff to when it comes to developing games that do run on Scarlet as well. That they're not going to have what happened at the beginning of this generation happen again. So I want to hear your input on that as well, brother.
Yeah, so let's clear a couple things up. So this DX12 update works with any DX12 device. That includes the original launch Xbox, Xbox One S, X. Who knows what else Microsoft will release in the future. This even works for cloud, because they use Xbox One S's right now in their cloud service. And then any PC that runs a DX12 game. And I guess I should clarify, any game that runs on DX12 on the Xbox platforms as well. The optimization works across the board. I think what you're seeing, I guess, to Bot's point about maturity of APIs, it's important to understand, like, to give a real generic sum up, PlayStation pretty much adopted OpenGL. Mm-hmm. And at the time of the launch of both of these consoles, like the consoles we have today, the problem was DX11, I forget what variant we were on at the launch, was really capable, but it was getting really bloated, and it had a lot of overhead, so it wasn't very optimized. And then OpenGL realized this is a problem, and it's a parallel API that that competes with DirectX. And basically, what they were doing is they were going a slightly different route, which their basic API was more optimized. So if you look at PlayStation, it's really kind of a variant of OpenGL in regards to that. Now, if you fast forward today, OpenGL is more equivalent to what you're seeing from Vulkan. Vulkan is now I hate to say it, you get good results, but still kind of the bloated API, and it's not the well-received API. And then you look at DX, that's the more matured one with the most features. And the one that currently right now works the best with ray tracing in regards to that. And so that's something they've talked about going to this next generation. Yeah, I think the API is mature. It's ready to go. I work in Unreal Engine myself, and the default API when I'm working in that engine is DX12. And that's something else a lot of people don't talk about going into next generation that's different from last gen. A lot of people weren't adopting DX11 at the time, so they're like, you would get like DX9 games and stuff like that on your Xbox One, because DX11 was so bloated, so you were getting older APIs they were modifying to work on the Xbox One, and the reality is they just weren't squeezing as much as they possibly could out of it. Now you're seeing, and a lot of developers are just avoiding DX11 because of how bloated it was. Now you're seeing a lot of engines, their default API is DX12. So it is kind of the new default standard going forward as far as games in the industry is concerned. And PlayStation really hasn't talked about which API they're
I
using, but
was
I'm
just
sure
gonna.
you guys can guess, and
I was
I,
just
I
gonna
can't really
ask
talk
you.
about it. So
I was just gonna ask you. Do you think Sony would actually? Because there's been points in time, especially with like DX9 back in the day, where um, it like that. Those games made with the DX9 API were definitely on like the PS3 and stuff like that. So do you think that
well, that
Sony?
stuff was still ported over to whatever their API was at the time.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Do you
familiar
think
with
that
that.
Sony will use by default? They'll like have like they'll be a DX12 machine.
I can't really comment what API
Damn
they're
it!
going to use, but I'm sorry, but I wish they would use it. If I had a wish list, I wish it was DX12.
It would make
Um,
it easier for the developer, especially third
but
party, right?
but anything can be ported over. I mean, you got to keep that in mind. You do have to rewrite some code when you port it over, and tools will get better at that. But anything can be ported over. It's more important what is the default renderer. Those tend to be the games that get the more tender loving care on that platform. Does that make sense?
Mm.
And usually they tend to, on average, run better in regards to that. So I mean, that's to say if the hardware is exactly the same and you run the two different APIs on it, the the original APIs that usually where they develop the game on is usually what runs better, and the other one is kind of an afterthought. If you're going to look at things equally, like use PC parts for example, so you're not taking like a bias between PlayStation or Xbox. The default API is always going to be the one that's going to run more efficiently in most cases. And that's just kind of just how development is. It's like running water. It goes the path of least resistance, and that's where you tend to get the best results. So
Well, Don, when I heard this news, I will let you know. I definitely got excited because we know, kind of like when it came to the developers and developing games, it's pretty much fact now that the tools, the API, everything for the Xbox One beginning of this generation was definitely not up to snuff. It was not mature, and developers were having like an issue. Developing games with Xbox One.
well, they
So
didn't like the API in the first place,
yeah.
right? At the early launch. So you talk about the beating that Xbox got at the early in the generation. There's the things that they said and the vision they had planned that wasn't in line with gamers, but the at the time developers were kind of frustrated with Microsoft behind the scenes too. They were frustrated with the APIs that they were releasing, and this was DX11. They didn't like it all that much. I mean, you can get great results, but just wasn't very optimized. And then you expect it to use on the hardware that we got in the base model Xbox
Mm-hmm.
One. You're just not getting the most that you can out of that machine, and it was just kind of known. And this is something that's been around for a while, like multiple cores on the CPU. Like a lot of that stuff has been going to waste for quite a while within gaming. That's the reason why single core performance is so crucial on a lot of PC gaming. But as DX12 became a thing and became more efficient, and as hardware is built around that particular API, you're going to be able to get a lot more out of the performance. You wouldn't get the 4K games out of the Xbox One X if it weren't for DX12. It wouldn't be possible with the
Right.
hardware that they put in there, and that's because of how they optimize that hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, shout out to Mr. Kima. He said Frostbite 3, Unity Engine, Snowdrop 2, Unreal Engine 4, Remedy's Northlight are all DX12 base. Now, Don,
default API, yes.
okay.
You can't say it's base because that's a little bit of a misrepresentation there, but it is the default API because those engines can run Vulkan. They can run OpenGL. So I mean, they can run these other APIs as far as all that stuff goes.
Okay, and you also said keep an eye on DirectML machine learning. Do you know
Uh,
anything about
you,
that?
yeah, machine learning is just set of instructions for that's the best way to describe machine learning. We're getting a lot of it. I mean, this is a little bit out. That's a little bit outside of my realm. Because I don't
terms here. Like,
I don't really deal with because I don't program at that level. But basically, if you look at machine learning, there's a lot of potential there, right? Like basically, you're giving a series of instructions that are kind of yes no answers to the best way to describe it to like a CPU, for example. And what they're doing there is they're coming back with, hey, here's my answer. No, that's wrong. And then then they learn, right? So there's a learning to that. So they start off pretty dumb, but once they're taught something, you can gain a lot from it. I mean, the best way to describe machine learning, look at deep fakes. Deep fakes are exactly that. The longer you run the simulation for a deep fake, the better they end up looking, right? Because what it is, it's basically two machines answering back and forth and doing all the work. So it's basically one machine saying, hey, how about if I do it like this? And then the machine goes, nah, that looks fake. Okay, how about I do it like this? No, that does look real, right? And they keep refining it until the one machine can't learn what is fake and what is not. And that's how they use deepfakes. So, I mean, that's just one application of it. I mean, you can use it for more modern AI. I think it'd be phenomenal. And I think that's where, we keep talking about cloud, streaming. I'm not overly excited about that, but, like cloud AI, the potential is crazy. And we barely even tapped into that. And so we're going to start seeing some cool stuff. And that's stuff that honestly both platforms will be able to use. A lot of the machine learning stuff. I mean, there's going to be different ways to accomplish that stuff, but more intelligent games, more intelligent AI. That's, you don't feel like you're walking into like, everyone has to be a zombie because they're that dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
nice, brother. And I'm going to move it along here. Yo, Pred, are you awake? Predator. No, he's out again.
I always put him to sleep. He every time he goes to my parties, he always falls asleep.
All right. Well, let me go to K Mega. You heard what Don said, and I know you kind of put the disclaimer out there, when it comes to like the tech news and the under the hood and stuff like that. But that's the reason why I posed like kind of like the second part of this thing. We all know what happened the beginning of this generation. Now, with what I'm hearing about the maturity of the API, the advancements with DirectX 12, to me it seems like Xbox and Microsoft learned from their mistakes at the beginning of this generation, and it seems like they are more than ready to release Project Scarlet. I want to get your opinion on that. Do you agree with me, and like why or why not, man?
No, I do agree, but I also will say this. I think that this was already a part of Xbox's vision. I think that they had to pull back because their vision was a little bit kind of Death Strandish, if you want to say, because it was, people just wasn't ready for it. And now it's gotten to the point to where people are now more accepting to a lot of the ideas that's coming with gaming. And it's what I've been saying, and what's a lot of us on this panel has been saying is that, look, man, it's the new gaming era has now basically begun probably at the midpoint of this gen, and now it's going to start rapidly going a whole nother direction. So it's so with this whole new situation what Mr. Keeman was talking about with the DirectX 12 and with this whole direct ML machine and just with what they're doing with the whole AI thing, maybe now I can start playing my games on normal and not have to worry about playing them at a higher difficulty, because I'm just kind of like, look, you get tired of the dumb AI. You want something that's a little bit more that's compelling, and you want something that's a little bit more smarter when you want to come around corners, do different things like that. I'm a stickler about that with games. That's why I play at a higher difficulty. But it's all seeming like it's coming so fast at us, and there'll still be other gamers that will say, I don't want that, but they'll adjust just like we all have that's already kind of adopted it. And I think that once they start getting their hands on it and in real time, I think that a lot of gamers will appreciate it. But yeah, Xbox is definitely in the driver's seat, not only because they've been continuing to work on this technology. It's because of one reason and one reason alone. It's because they got they head stomped in this generation in the sense of console sales, the market share aspect, and also the fact
Mind share as well, man.
mind share. Thank you. I don't give a fuck about that shit.
Yeah.
But but the fact of just public perception. When you looked at the 360 era, all these movies, all these commercials, you've seen people that was holding an Xbox 360 controller. Now, when you watch these commercials and stuff now, just for random commercials, when they want to show people that's gaming or something, it's a PlayStation 4 commercial. It's a PlayStation 4 controller. Mm-hmm. So, because that is the more dominant, more popular console. And I think, and when you have a hungry company that's coming out just like PlayStation did this gen, I think all the signs are indicating that Xbox is going to come out swinging right off the gate. PlayStation is going to have to recover. Nintendo is in the driver's seat themselves because they have because they kind of think, I think that they found their identity of what gamers want. So now they're doing their thing, and what their audience want is just say, don't have to.
Nintendo's always carved their own niche.
Right,
like that's
right.
They stay in their own lane. They do their own thing. Like that's kind of their deal. You know what I mean?
Right. And look, I think like they're going to be competitive in all ends. I think when you look at the beginning of this generation, a lot of the casual market didn't really pay attention to the whole DRM thing, all of that, except unless when somebody was in GameStop and me, I told them some crazy stuff like that. It was that price point. That was the big thing. So I think this generation, they'll be competitive, and they'll figure out what they want to do. They got Game Pass. They have this new technology. They're going to have the Scarlet. They're going to have whatever else that they're going to include, and on top of that, xCloud. They have all their ducks in a row, and it looks like they're ready to go with kind of what's going on with PlayStation. They're living off of what was the old identity of gaming, and now they're trying to adjust. So that's why I feel like they're going to kind of be a step behind. And I know we don't know what they're going to have planned for the games that's going to be their launch lineup. It could be fantastic, or it could be a lot of remasters coming out again, and I don't think that'll be a good look for them. So we'll see. So I think it's going to be positive for Xbox. I really do.
Nice. Now, Crispy, you heard me ask the question to these two panel members over here, and I'm going to throw it your way, man. You heard about the advancements with DirectX 12, and just overall, like any bits of news that we get about Project Scarlet. I feel like they really learned from the beginning of this generation, and when it comes to Scarlet, I feel like they are ready to move. Everything's going to be mature. The tools, everything. Like it seems like they learned from what happened at the beginning of this generation, and they're not going to let it happen again. But I want to hear what you think. Do you think that after hearing all this, do you think that that's the way that they are going, or do you think that there is a concern that they might stumble the way they did the beginning of this generation?
So let's be honest for a second. Microsoft has always been a software-based company. That's what they do. They do it well. Okay. When Sony's, buying into Azure Cloud, when Microsoft bought it years before, okay, there's something going on here. And we have to all understand that Microsoft is always going to put software first. They will. And whether it's optimizing or doing whatever, they are going to do exactly what they are good at, because they are good at it. We could all sit here and say, oh, this doesn't work right, or this doesn't work right. Well, guess what? You're still there. You're still doing the thing. Okay. So in the end, what it comes down to is I'm reading an article right now that kind of just slapped in my lap, but basically it's saying that Xbox has next gen AMD hardware involved, and PlayStation 5 has last gen AMD hardware involved.
See, not with that was before.
Be careful.
Yeah, that was before PlayStation revealed that they have hardware accelerated ray tracing as well in the PlayStation 5.
No, this actually debunks that, and it's by notebookcheck.net, and they actually say that AMD has already said that they have next gen hardware, chips and all that great shit that Don knows way more.
Because I believe that was June 14th.
No, this is a June now.
Oh,
it doesn't even
they
say that.
updated it on the bottom.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
All right. Because once I saw June 14th, I was like, oh, okay, well that makes sense. But they announced the hardware accelerated ray tracing.
Christy, I'll tell you right now that article is not accurate.
Okay.
Okay. All right. See, that's why
I'm not misleading. I don't like misleading people. That is not an accurate article. I know where they're pulling things from, and they got the wrong pieces of the puzzle, and they don't. I
don't have enough knowledge about that. I'm kind of like, because the Don, we could sit here and bullshit, but you know a lot more than we do. You know what I mean?
Well, I've seen a tech demo demonstrating what they think they can do with the machines with a particular engine. But that being said, there are. I mean, here's the thing: they all have the same parts bin, right? Like that's the way you guys gotta look at this stuff. They have all the same parts bin from AMD that they can choose from.
Yeah, but it's all about the customization, though, right?
Well, it's a little bit of everything, right? Like you take the engineers from Sony and Xbox and you put them in a room and lock them together. They're not going to agree on how to make the best possible system, right? So like that's the harsh reality. So there's going to be different takes on them, what they're going to prioritize. Now, I can say this: look, no one's going to be disappointed in their next hardware. I can also say this: on paper, some things are going to be significantly more in certain areas, but both will be able to trade punches. Just to be fair, and like when people keep saying, "Hey, they're going to pretty much both going to be the same hardware," no, they're not. In regards to that, and you guys will just kind of have to wait and see, because I wasn't briefed on which one was more powerful, but I did see the results of the performance profiles, and one of them definitely is substantially more powerful. So,
oh wow,
okay, all right, that's interesting.
And K Mega knows, because I've been told, but I'm not opening my mouth no more.
Damn it! And you guys don't even tell me behind closed doors, man.
I haven't told K Mega either. Like I just told you there is a difference. That's all I've said. In to be honest with you, because
all I gotta say is K Mega sounds very confident right now. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. If you think about it, like if software optimization is involved with either console, Microsoft's gonna win.
Yeah, but they were software. They were a software company beginning of this generation as well, and where they failed on the developer side.
And no, Don wasn't the one.
But the hardware did not support their software capability, and that's where I look at it. Like they did not. They didn't see. They saw the future, but they held back. Okay, like the Xbox One X is kind of like this niche console now. Like everybody talks about it like this niche console, and I enjoy it. Like I have a really good 4K TV. I have great, optimization all across the board. I have like tweaked that TV to make everything look great. Like when I played Gears 5 and I booted up, I said, this shit's real. What? You know what I mean? And that's this gen.
Yo, Crispy,
next gen.
Crispy, how come every time you say tweak, I cringe? I don't know why. Like I think it's going somewhere else when you say tweak, man. But
am I talking about twerking or something? Like what?
You start scratching the back of your bicep. Have a nervous twitch. I don't know what's going on.
All right, guys.
Well, hold on. Let me say something right fast. Let me say this to dual purpose, bruh. You have no idea what you're saying. You sound absolutely like an ass. The point of the matter is that you don't want Don to know anything. You want to make him sound like he's just some random dude that we found out on the street that just says that he just so happens to develop a game. I would like to see what game you have developed and what you know, so you can just stop hating on other individuals. I ain't gonna let you sit there and talk to my boy like that. That shit is ridiculous.
Oh, I didn't even see him.
No, I seen this fraud on here coming up talking at that stuff, talking about making claims and stuff. Just because you may think, because look, PlayStation could be the one to be more powerful. You have no idea.
I never clarified which one's more powerful.
Clarified it. I'm not going to clarify it. All I know is that one is more powerful than the other. But the thing of it is that it shouldn't matter if the platform or the console of your choice is where you want to game at. All you should care about is where is what's coming up next.
Yeah,
but don't try to defame somebody because you don't know shit. That's what's hurtful. That's what's sad about you.
Yeah,
you don't know a goddamn thing. Shut your tired ass up and go onto the PlayStation side, bro. Yeah, I get tired of these little fools walking around talking that dumb shit.
It's okay, man. And I stream actual game creations on my Mixer channel. People can figure out where I work if they really wanted to because they know where I live. Like they know I live in Utah. Like I'm not worried about it.
Don don't have to speak up because he got friends, and I will speak up for him. He's a professional. He's got a way more high paying job than your tired ass do. So therefore, I'll sit there and speak up for him.
Shut up. Crispy does not defer to most people, but I will defer to that man. I'm just saying.
And that dude's going to defer. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here, man.
Hey, it's no different. I mean, everyone in the business deals with that stuff, man. It's no big deal.
Look, talking about who knocked over my high chair. No, the point of the matter is look, man. Look, if a PlayStation, if a person that has more access, like let's say PlayStation, bruh, that dude has way more access than a lot of these so-called YouTubers that's out here now. He's a cool dude. He has no issues. He stays in his lane. When he opens his mouth, I listen. So if let's say that I was listening to a podcast with him talking, I'm not going to sit. I would say the same thing to an Xbox fan that would try to talk about, you don't know this. Shut your ass up. This dude knows way more than you do. Stop that. Let's not be disrespectful to people because you don't want to hear what you might anticipate you might think that you're hearing because you don't know. Nobody said Xbox was more powerful or PlayStation was more powerful, but we just said one is more powerful. That's all.
Don told me the Ouya 3 is actually going to do 12K and so many frames per second they can't even keep count.
Oh, man, look, listen. My boy may like mayonnaise, but you ain't gonna go after my boy like that.
I had to spill the beans, man.
He might like potato salad and mayonnaise, but you ain't gonna go after my boy Don like that.
Hey, at least I put a little hot sauce in there. But whatever. I mean,
keep it spicy, baby. Keep it spicy.
Here's the thing: people are gonna believe what they want to believe. I'm just gonna put the information out there. I'm just being straightforward and honest with people about this sort of stuff, and I've always been very much down the middle, and I also let people know which platform I prefer and what I prefer to play on. I've been straightforward since the beginning, and you can take it for what it's worth or not. And if you don't want to believe me, it's cool.
So
I'm not upset about that. Whatever.
So what I'm gonna say is this, okay? We've all been through the bit wars. Remember, most of us have been through the bit wars. 32-bit,
16-bit,
32-bit. Yeah. Okay. All right. We've all been through that. I think we're at the point as a generation that some of the software involved is actually more important than the hardware. I'm just saying, we look at Unreal Engine 4 on multiple different games, and some look way better than others. So that is a software. Hello, people. All right.
Well, that comes to the talent that puts it in there, right? It comes to the assets that you create and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like if you're not talented, you are not going to develop some of the games we've watched. And I'm not even going to put a name on any of them, but that's the point. Like, there's clearly a software, like they have that generation software. Like Unreal continues to be across multiple games, and they continue to deliver. So what do we say to this? Like Microsoft has, certain things that they focus on, and they are continuing to focus. Yes, they're focusing on Game Pass. Yes, they're focusing on, how their servers work and everything else. Like, yeah, it's been screwed up for a while. It has been, but you're adding like a full PC fan base. They've been touting this for a year, if not longer. They've been throwing those games in there.
I mean, at the end of the day, you guys got stuff to look forward to. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a PlayStation guy or an Xbox guy or even a PC guy. Like, everything's going to get. I mean, it's going to get better.
There are people out there that, of course, they want to continue the whole console war nonsense, and whether it's 50% or it's 0.2%, whichever has the better margin or whatnot, and they just want to keep going. They think this is like the NFL, but only with 2 football teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the weirdest thing, dude.
Here's what's going to end up happening. It's going to be like talking about televisions, right? If you think about it, like, we all own a different television. We all prefer what we purchased, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, we don't really give 2 shits of what TVs someone else bought. We're not going to get upset about that. And you know what's going to kill that narrative? Crossplay.
Yeah.
Crossplay is going to kill that narrative entirely.
And
you can
also,
be playing with
also the fact somebody said this. I forgot who said that in the chat earlier, but they made the perfect point. They said both consoles have to keep up because of crossplay and because games are going to PC. Mm-hmm. They want people to still keep to buy a console and not even want to tinker with a PC. So of course both of them have to be powerful enough to keep their interest and keep their plug and play the main focal point for those gamers, not for them to want to try to get.
I'm gonna have
whoever said that in the chat. You was absolutely right on that.
I'm gonna have an end point real quick, and I'm just gonna say this: if PlayStation died all of a sudden, I would be upset.
Hell yeah!
Because I would be absolutely upset.
I've been a PlayStation fan from day one and bought every console they own.
I played PlayStation 2 for 8 freaking years. Like, I miss those SOCOM days. I miss when they were pushing. They basically pushed internet into the realm. Like, yes, Xbox was there. They were doing their thing. But because of the fan base and everything else, PlayStation just pushed it to a next level. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that we need these gaming companies to push each other. Because if we don't have that, we're not going to get the innovation we're actually looking for.
Right. Yeah. And that's one thing, too, as well, is that I don't think that people don't understand. It's like what I say about whatever that dude's profession is, dual purpose profession is. You don't want somebody that don't know what the hell that you do to come up and tell you your job.
Do me a favor and read that super chat from our brother Lemon.
All right, what's going on, 108 Dragons TV? Man, I hope you're ready to play some COD tonight. I'm ready to go all in. Do some streaming. Let's see. Didn't I say crossplay is the difference? The difference next gen on GRG last night. Give me my just do facts. Yes, you did say that, brother. You did. Absolutely.
I figure you had to say it so this way you could give him his, his props. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Go and support my boy 108 Dragons, man. He's a YouTuber. He comes on the GRG podcast. He's an honorable member. He's a brother. He's a family.
Definitely check out his YouTube channel too, because he is
creative, good dude.
He's one of the most underrated people on YouTube right now, man.
Absolutely, and he doesn't just talk about just like Xbox. He talks about everything. He just talks about games. He talks about the gaming news, man. So go ahead.
Lemon, just go ahead and copy and paste that throughout the year, because the generation's still a year off.
It is. So regardless,
you can always put it in super chat, and then next podcast once a week if you like.
Yeah, once a week. Just remind people. It's
just a reminder.
Yeah. The thing of it is that you don't want to be dipping into talking about other people's professions or what they want to do. It's just like with me. I'm in construction. Like, it's so funny to me when people tell us, oh, well, they need to get these potholes or whatever, this bridge done. Why we got to go this one lane? It just rained. You want us to go ahead and put or if it's super hot or something, they don't know the temperature, what you have to do. They don't have no idea. They just know that they just want that shit to be done. But there's so much involved into it.
Oh, don't read Brian Baker's.
I just saw that.
I do. I build walls, bridges, all types of shit. I do the Lord's work. That's what I do. And I do it by hand. Anyway, so no, the thing of it is to me, it's just like, let these developers, let these people that's in charge, let them do what they need to do, and we'll see what their visions are. If it fails, then we'll know by however where they messed up and made the mistake in. But believe they'll make the adjustments and to make it right for their fan base. Let's just let's not do that. Let's not criticize people because they may be vague. Maybe that's because they can't go out and just say how they actually feel, because if they do, they're gonna fuck up their paycheck. I ain't trying. I wouldn't fuck up
their career. What are you talking about, man? Their future in that industry. But let's be real. We are on a podcast.
Shout out to other construction workers out there, man. Sorry, Emmanuel. Man, shout out to the construction stand out there. Shout out to the mixer drivers. Shout out to the people out there, man. Except for the damn testers. You damn testers are tough. Y'all make it hard on a brother. Anyway, shout out to everybody that does that shit. The Lord's work. Remember that.
All right. Well, guys, it is Saturday night, man. The gamers got a game. I think it's about time we wind this down. We have had another incredible next podcast episode. And guys, right around the corner, starting in January, will be a new format for the show. And, of course, because it'll be a new season, we are going to have a new video game mascot. So this entire season, it has been Rash from Battletoads. So starting in January, we will have a new mascot that's on the thumbnail, all that good stuff. I'm excited. It's right around the corner, man. We're in November. We get through this December, and then it's a brand new season of Next Podcast. But great show as always, man. Huge shout out to my panel, and I am gonna go through, like a 40-year-old with a comb over. You gotta get those plugs in. I do want to say huge shout out to everybody who checked the show out live tonight. Took part in the chat, put your thoughts and opinions out there. The chat, man, you guys entertain me as we do our best to try to entertain you. Seeing the back and forth, the thoughts, opinions, and stuff like that. I absolutely love interacting with you guys. It has been incredible. I am going to start with my brother K Mega, because when it comes down to it, I noticed I haven't did the outro with you first in a long time. So Mega, you got that show GRG, you got that YouTube channel, and of course you got a Twitter where people can talk games. So I think you should just let everybody know about those, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. And no disrespect, I just had to. I defend my people, man. I defend my family from GRG. I defend my family from Next Podcast, man. This is all I got when it comes to the interwebs like that, man. And I defend the ladies from GWG, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is.
Women gaming.
So it's just I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So no ill wills, no hard feelings, man. I just kind of like, man, the man can't just open his mouth and say the shit. He just can't. I wish he could too, but he just won't. But anyway, check out the GRG podcast every Friday night. At 8:30 Central, the Lord's time, 9:30 Eastern, the Devil's time, and 6:30 Pacific's time. The
hold on, Diablo 4 was announced, so you could call it Lilith's time. All right.
Okay, all right. Anyway, and the slow motion time is 6:30 at the Pacific time. Anyway, so and then also support everybody on the channel, man, and check me out on Twitter at KMega4. Really appreciate it, man. Always getting into some stuff because I open my mouth a lot and it gets me in some trouble. But it's all right. It's all fun. It's all good. But anyway, have a good one, blessed one. I'm finna eat some steak. My old lady just cooked me some steak because I got her a new TV, so it's all good.
Wow, dude, you bought her a new TV and she just went right to the kitchen and started.
That's how we do it in Oklahoma, man. The women like to
What?
get to cooking, and then everything they can start cooking till that dance off, pants off.
Oh my goodness, yo! On that note, I hate to do this to you, man, but you got to follow that up. So, Crispy, why don't you let people know where people can go to talk games with you?
Why? Why you gotta do that to me?
Yeah.
Are we doing CCC
You
Sunday?
you got it.
You're in the know, like the Don. So are we doing CCC Sunday? I don't know.
There's definitely a possibility of doing the show or not. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm when we're there, I'm a regular panel member on CCC. That's Coffees, Casuals, and Consoles, baby. It's like one of the OGs of podcasting. Just saying. And the fact is
We've
that
been
I'm
around longer than CCC, man. Don't start doing that. Don't start doing that. We OG, brother.
Well, I never got the invite, so I don't know about that.
Oh, so it only counts if Crispy's on the panel. I see where
well, that's the crispy truth, bro.
Hashtag crispy truth.
Yeah, you're the one that was like, oh, this might be your last podcast. Yeah, I'm going to keep bringing that shit up till the day you die. I swear to God, I got you, bro. And then Retro Renegades Tuesday night, and then whatever podcast I'm on. I mean, I speak the truth, man. I'm just saying. I point out the fucking problems. If somebody disagree with me, I listen to them. I mean, that's a hard thing to do nowadays, but I'm just saying.
Dude, I gotta say, I freaking love this panel, man. Yeah, I love the personalities on this panel. And, everybody out in the chat, if you love this panel as well, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button. Don, you did something today. You did.
Yeah, I do a thing sometimes.
Yeah, you did something. You might want to tell people about that, and of course, where they can go to talk games with you, brother. Or and maybe you can let out a couple secrets here and there. Yeah, you know the drill.
Oh, when I do that, people get upset. But that being said, just like how we started next podcast, it's all about we're real gamers, and so we showed gameplay. I took that same spirit when I did my Mixer channel. Yeah, obviously I'm doing gameplay on Mixer, but I also do development stuff on Mixer as well. So if you want to see asset creation, that's what I did this morning.
What kind of creation?
Well, don't twist my words, bot, but it's referred to as an asset. So yeah, I'm using the ZBrush and kind of show you the character creations behind the scenes, and I'm doing my take on Master Chief as like a little side fun project to add to my portfolio.
So if you guys want to see Don use his ZBrush on Master Chief's asset, you're going to want to tune in.
Yeah, when you word it like that, you just sound like a perv, man. But that being said, if you doubt me, well, you can just go and watch me do it. So there you go. I'm all about the actions, and I'll be streaming on Mixer and playing. I don't know what I'm going to be playing tonight. I'm going to be playing some games, though.
Nice.
Games.
Now, who wants to impersonate Predator for his outro?
Dude, I've been here. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's up again. Predator! Yeah.
I've been here listening to y'all, listening to K Mega's rant, and
dude, I called.
My mom called me, so I had to answer that.
Oh, okay. I was
You
like,
called me
I
the second time. I
while
couldn't.
back, man. I would have let you chime in, but we're ending the show, so
That's fine. I didn't have anything to say about the DX12 stuff, anyways.
All right, man. Get your plugs in, brother. What's good?
Pred, Xbox, PlayStation. See y'all next week.
Beautiful. And on that note, guys, we are going to end the show the way I do every week. We will see you here next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Later.